tuned in to VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Patrick Meagher, Dustin Swedelson, VSiN Live.
All right, VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio. Steve Torrey, one for the road before you pop the gummy. We're going to go over 8 with the Tigers at the Rays. Flaherty, Baez, let's go over the 8. You can get even money on that right now. Runs are going to be scored. I'm on hockey right now with the goals, but runs are going to be scored. Steve Torrey, that's for you, a special with Flaherty. Tigers at the Rays. Over 8, we say hi. That starts in 3 minutes, people. And by the way, we're on a magical South American Boricua run. Last night we picked up another winner. We are betting soccer on a weird Friday here. VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio. Coming up in just about 58 minutes, we're going back to Ecuador. That's what's up. Adam, Isaias, back in New York City. Ryan Smith, as always, at VSiN Live on YouTube, and we welcome you in. A couple of things to start here. We had a great newsletter, vsin.com/newsletter today. Bill A.D. It's free. You just enter your email address. You just got to go read it because he was hanging out with the new UNLV head coach, Dan Mullen. And that's a huge coup for UNLV football because if you think about it, they had a couple of good seasons with Odom. Odom flipped that job over to Purdue. But Mullen, remember, back in 2014, Mullen had Mississippi State #1 in the country, which is crazy. Dak Prescott, you know the deal, and probably doesn't get the credit he deserves for what Dan Mullen did down at Florida, which is a tough place to coach. We know this. So UNLV, and you can read about it in the newsletter. I was thinking about college football. We're going to get to the basketball. We've got plenty to do on the program. If I were to throw at you right now the college football championship odds, could you even come up with 3 teams in the top 5? Could you come up with 2 teams in the top 5? Everything's so topsy-turvy. Like when I start to read another reconfiguration playoff story when it comes to college football, my eyes glaze over. And you know what? I just don't freaking care. It has gotten so laborious with these conferences and teams flipping and who gets in and what's the weight of balance. And it's too much. And college football is killing itself from the inside out. That's an aside. What do we have tonight on the program besides betting as a family? 888-MAD-DOG-6, 888-623-3646. We are going to talk the basketball. We got a Game 7, folks, coming up on Sunday, which stinks. Can we get a Saturday game? I understand you're going to rate better on a Sunday if you're the NBA, but last night was awesome, and we will discuss, and I'd love to hear your thoughts as we enter a Game 7 with the Pacers forcing it, Oklahoma City on Sunday. I'll get to the odds. I'll get to all the ramifications when it comes to betting. But that was theater last night, and not because it was a great game, but because there is a team that's emerging that is becoming pretty special, and they reside in Indiana, and I got to take my comeuppance for talking about them. Matt Moore is going to join us. Matt Moore does a great job covering the NBA. He's going to join us to discuss. But the idea that this game's on Sunday, get the hell out of here. Again, you have momentum, the NBA. And I don't know, the scheduling, I understand it's beyond my whole entire purview. They're much smarter than me. That's what they say. However, you got a game on a Thursday night, and then we've got a Game 7, winner take all, and you got to wait till Sunday. And by the way, Sunday at 5 o'clock my time, 8 o'clock your time on the East. Hate the scheduling. Can't wait for the game. I'm guessing most of you at this point. Now, I don't know. Listen, you understand that the World Cup, most have heard, the soccer, it's the biggest global spectacle on the planet. It's every 4 years, the World Cup. And it's coming to North America in less than a year. And as it does, we're supposed to, with Pulisic and the others, we're supposed to be in the golden era of soccer. It's funny. I'm the idiot that was telling you back in, 14, 15, whenever the World Cup was, and I had just started here on Mad Dog Sports Radio. And I was talking and constantly lecturing about how United States soccer is going to have a come up. It's going to start dominating youth, and it's going to become huge. By the time we reach 2026, it's going to be so prevalent in the United States. And just like the Pacers, I was completely wrong because the juice isn't there, and the vibes right now are horrific with the U.S. men's national team. There's a lot of inner strife and dysfunction, drama. We'll get to that with Brian Dunseth, who was a U.S. men's national team player and a great American soccer player. So we're going to talk about that, just kind of go inside what's happening within United States soccer. I'm looking forward to that conversation. But we have to start with what happened last night, and that's 108-91. And the Pacers, let's start here. They're special. Al, White Plains, the rest of you, and there's plenty of you that called me and said, listen, you're just clueless. And I may be, because this Pacers team, they're not losing in 5. They're not losing in 6. This is going to go long. Now, many of you said, I don't know if the Pacers are going to beat Oklahoma City because the Thunder do have that home wood, and they've had a pretty historic season. But this Pacers team is special. And after starting 0 of 8 from the field last night, down 10-2, they just were special. And they're badasses. They forced Oklahoma City 21 turnovers, 8 by Gilgeous-Alexander. Nembhard was special with his defense. Listen, if you just take a step back and you think about the Pacers, and again, I'll get to the numbers, but usually what you do is you start with the losing locker room because that's generally a pretty special story or a more interesting story, specifically with this quote-unquote great Thunder team. But I think it would be disrespectful. So I have to start with the Pacers because if you think about it, they're the 4th seed. They're really not even supposed to be here. They led by like 30 points. But by the time the third quarter ended, they were up 30. Oklahoma City played the reserves. Oklahoma City put the game on ice and played the reserves for the final 12 minutes. Those middle 2 quarters for the Pacers, they outscored the Thunder last night 62-35. I am beyond impressed. And yes, behind the 8 ball as far as how special this team is. And Carlisle had a great game. Carlisle last night coached circles around Dagnall with his substitution patterns, I thought, and he got efforts from everybody. And listen, Halliburton, he's not going to kill you. It's not going to blow you away if you look at the numbers from last night. But I thought he was spry, and that's all you're looking for moving on to a Game 7. I thought Halliburton showed plenty. And simply, if Halliburton is healthy, what he does orchestration-wise with that offense is really all they need, because they become a very special offense when Halliburton's on the floor. They become a very basic offense when he's not on the floor. And, Halliburton, 14 points, 5 dimes last night, but they just got contributions, this special Pacers team. Hey, it's better to admit you're wrong, and this goes for relationships, and this goes for sports. It's better to admit you're wrong than to dig into pride. And that's where I'm at on the Pacers. Now, what happens with Game 7? Again, the numbers tell you that Oklahoma City's going to win it, but I'm starting to get in that camp of you can't doubt something that's magical. You can't doubt this Pacers team right now because look at it. Nembhard gave you 17. Siakam gave you 16. Nesmith, 10. Obi Toppin, who has been a revelation. And I have no clue what the Knicks were thinking. No, first off, Obi Toppin is a local. He's a native New Yorker. And they move on from Obi Toppin after drafting him. And last night in the NBA Finals, Game 6, he gave you 20 points and 6 boards. Like, Toppin's become a legitimate player. But they went all the way down to Bradley and Bryant and Mathurin and Shepard. Like, everybody chipped in. And then we have to start with the guy that has, he had a very good postseason last year. And T.J. McConnell has been a quote-unquote pesky player. Whatever we call white players. You know what I'm saying? Like, pesky, grinder, works hard, whatever. He's a hell of a basketball player and a spark plug. He reminds me a little bit. The kids aren't going to recognize this, but Vinnie Johnson back in the day. Vinnie Johnson was called the microwave because you brought him in off the bench and he just heated up the court, and he did something for the Pistons back in the day. A little chubby, had a nice jump shot. My guy. But McConnell, last night, 24 minutes, he gave you 12 points, but that's not where his impact is not about the points. Now, he was getting his own shot, and it's almost like a jump shot from 3 feet out in front of the rim. But McConnell last night, 12 points, but here's where it gets special. 9 rebounds for McConnell. That's effort. That's literally what it comes down to. That's effort. 9 boards for McConnell, 6 assists, and 4 steals. Difference maker. No other way to put it. Like, McConnell has become a difference maker in this series, and he gave you 22 minutes in Game 5. And I was bitching. He should get 30, maybe 30. I understand I'm getting a little rich. I'm probably getting a little aggressive to say McConnell should give you 30. But he did get 2 more minutes last night, gave you 24 minutes, and he's been a complete revelation. Like, every time he jumps in, he's stealing an inbounds pass and changing the whole entire flow of the basketball game. So that's McConnell. And that's the Pacers. Straight up. Hand to God, this one's on me. Forcing a Game 7 and doing it how they did it last night, where there were so many questions about Halliburton. And when, kind of the head goes down, you wonder if that's going to spider into confidence as far as the rest of the team. But what this team's showing you with all their late comebacks against the Cavs and against the Knicks and on, with all their comebacks, what they're saying, Milwaukee, what they're showing you is they ain't scared. And they might be special. 4th seed, Game 7, against a team that won 68 regular season games. So we start there with the Pacers. And now we move on to the Oklahoma City Thunder. That was how many games into the season? That was the worst performance of the season by far by the Oakland. And the numbers supported by the Oklahoma City Thunder. And this is a team that won 68 games in the regular season. They're one of 7 teams, the Thunder, that have ever won 68 or more in the regular season. They had the best point differential of any team in NBA history. Do with that information what you want. But they've been awesome all year. They didn't score less than 100 points 3 times in the regular season. Oklahoma City. And this is where you have to go back to the specialness of the Pacers, because it's not just about that great offense. And again, it can be great when they're going. It's not just about that offense. Their defense has been spectacular, the Pacers. And all we do, me included, yes, I know, all we do is jock the Thunder defense. Well, the Thunder scored less than 100 3 times over 82 regular season games, and once in the postseason. And by the way, they won that game against Denver, the Thunder. So 4 times all year, they've scored less than 100 points. And last night, the Pacers held the Thunder to 91 points. I mean, that is points per possession was the worst of the season. Listen, literally, this game in a vacuum last night was the worst the Thunder had played. The defense was not any better than the offense. I mentioned that the reserves were out there the whole entire fourth quarter. I'm over here anointing Jalen Williams and SGA as the best modern duo right now in basketball. Jalen Williams in Game 5 had 40 points. He's the Robin to the SGA Batman. Well, last night in 26 minutes, he was a minus 40. So 40 points for Williams in Game 5. A minus 40 as far as production on the court for Williams in Game 6. It's miraculous how bad they played. So then you start asking yourself, is this, and you never want to denigrate. You never want to be disrespectful and say, oh, the Oklahoma City Thunder just played poorly. They put their starters on ice in the fourth. No, let's point to the Pacers. I don't want to go there. My expectation would be the Thunder bounce back, but I'm not so sure anymore. And this would be a time. Now, last week we did some shtick, and we said we had a show announcement, and we're on the Pacers. That was for entertainment in the sense that, you know what, it would be fun to see this 4th seed that's had a tough road, that had a superstar or a star, regardless how you look at him. He's been great with clutch shots in the postseason, and he was called overrated by his peers, Halliburton. It would be great to see this team win a championship and flip the freaking league upside down on its head. And so we said we're jumping in on the Pacers. But I did, after that Game 3 loss, just being completely forthright with you, after the Game 3 loss, the series price adjusted to the Thunder laying $2. So bet $2 to win $1, and I went very heavy on the Thunder. Just telling you. So that leaves me in a bit of a quandary as we head back to Oklahoma City. They've been favored, and they're going to continue to be favored, the Thunder, in all 7 games of this series against the Pacers. Let me go ahead and grab the live number for you right now. Before I give you the number, if you haven't looked at the odds, I'm guessing most of you on Mad Dog Sports Radio haven't necessarily looked at the odds for Sunday's Game 7 and the NBA Finals. So I'll just ask you. Last night, going into it, the Thunder were 5.5-point favorites in Indy for Game 6. What do you think the bookmakers made the price? What do you think they've set the line at for Game 7? The last time we saw Oklahoma City host the Pacers, they closed 9.5. It's 7.5. That is a hell of a lot of – my assumption was we'd see that 9.5 number again. So, again, if you bet on the Thunder in Game 7, you'd have to win by – if it was 9.5, you'd have to win by 10 or more to win your bet. That's entering blowout territory in the NBA. But that's how they've been priced. And so if you look at it now – it's not just me coming around and saying this Pacers team is pretty special. Sure, it's still 7.5, but that's a lot of respect from the bookmaker, and that's a lot of respect from the market that believes there might be something here with this team. Now, if you wanted to bet, let's just do this for the sake of the conversation, because if you're a Pacers backer, here's what you should be doing. Now, obviously 7.5 steep, so you might want to take the points if you're comfortable with that. But for everything on the line, the money line. So that means the Pacers going to Oklahoma City on Sunday and just straight up beating the Thunder's ass and winning the game. They're plus 250. So $100 returns you $250. If you want to bet the Thunder, they're minus $3. So lay $300 to win $100. So there's still there's a pretty big imbalance. You understand what I'm saying to you? There's a pretty big imbalance here as far as the expectations for Game 7. But as I start to look at it, I'm just like, it's starting to get super interesting, because with the Jalen Williams and the turnovers from SGA, that's where everything starts. With Carlisle starting to get a feel. Now, he's had a feel. I'm not pretending. Carlisle's coached more games than you could spit at. I'm not pretending like Carlisle doesn't know what the hell he's doing. He won a championship with Dallas when they beat a much better Heat team with LeBron. Carlisle was a very young coach. Remember, Carlisle started on the Pacers staff with Larry Bird. Remember, Larry Bird was the coach of the Pacers, and Carlisle was an assistant of his. And then Carlisle flipped that. Joe Dumars hired Carlisle to coach the Pistons. Now, this was the aughts, like 2000, 2001. Remember Rip and Chauncey and Tayshaun Prince and Rasheed Wallace and Ben Wallace. Like that team that was called the Hard Hat Pistons, Carlisle was brought in to coach them, and he did a hell of a job. Got them to the postseason, got them deep into the postseason, but couldn't quite get over that hump. And then they brought in Larry Brown, who's one of the great coaches of all time. Yeah, that was a squad, Ryan. Isaiah, whatever one of you donks just said that. That was a squad. That was my team. I could go into the Hard Hat Pistons, Detroit basketball. I'll tell you in a second. Carlisle is ousted, from Detroit. Larry Brown comes in, he wins a championship. Carlisle has coached a million games. Carlisle last night, you could tell, was in his bag. And so that's a dangerous recipe. And if you look and you're a Thunder fan, you got a squeaky ass. You just do. You're starting to grip a little bit because you're a 7.5-point favorite, and your team had no answers in the postgame presser. SGA, Jalen Williams, the only thing you could say about the Thunder, who, by the way, jumped out to a 10-2 lead in that game last night, the only thing you could say is that they were shook. And so that doesn't bode well. Now we head back. You've got an Indiana team. Halliburton was over the moon after the game. Obviously, he's going to play in Game 7. I expect him to be good to go. You've got a team that is now, everybody's against us. We're huge dogs. Don't pretend. Mullen was talking. They know the point spreads. whatever sport it is, the coaches, the players, they know the spread. And the proliferation of betting has made it more, universal for these players and coaches to use the point spread as motivation. Well, how do you think it's going to land in that Pacers locker room when Carlisle walks in and says, so you just you were up 30 on the greatest team of all time. You were up 30 at the end of the third quarter, and you're still plus 250 and catching 7.5 as we fly down to Oklahoma City. So why don't we go ahead, turn this into a business trip, and bring the Larry O'Brien back to Indianapolis? They're super motivated. Obviously, the motivation's there for Oklahoma City, but you can't, and somebody like me that went heavy on them after Game 3, you can't be feeling very good about your bet. Because there is such thing as the statistical nerds, what does Dog say, with the Schwinn, headed to the park to tell GMs what they're supposed to do because the metrics say so. The statistical people do not believe in momentum. They do not believe in confidence. I do. I very much do. And this team is going down to Oklahoma City with a plethora of confidence. You know who's not confident? Drake. Even if you don't like rap, even if you don't like music, you've heard of Drake. Well, last night, he lost $800,000 on the Thunder. So your boy Drizzy, Drake, he's having a tough run, if we're being honest. He lost the battle to Kendrick Lamar, LA's own Kendrick Lamar Compton. And Drake last night put $600,000 on the outright money line. So he bet $600,000 on the Thunder last night and $200,000. Now, this is what you get to do when you're rich. But Drake bet $200,000 that the Thunder would win by between 6 and 10 points. If he had cashed both bets, he would have won $1.7 million. He lost both bets. He lost $800,000. So there are a lot of people that are fading and doubting this Pacers team, including Drake. It's time to stop. That's what I would say. So get your thoughts. 888-MAD-DOG-6, 888-623-3646. This is going to be a mission tonight. I want to hear from some of you I used to that don't necessarily call the network or the show as much as you used to. I'd like to hear some old voices. Let's reconnect. And by the way, I told you, I got Ecuadorian soccer coming up in a little over a half an hour. We're going to keep the magical carpet ride going. Boricua in South America. Yeah, somebody had flashed up that was a hell of a team. I was lucky enough to be, born in 78. So if you think about being born in 78, yes, I'm old, but born in 78, and then the Pistons, as they get over that Showtime hurdle, and we're talking about the Lakers getting sold recently, but that Showtime and Celtic rivalry with Bird and Magic was really the burgeoning of the NBA. That's what took it and just absolutely rocket shipped it into another stratosphere. But there were two teams hanging around with the Celtics and Pacers. The Celtics and Lakers. The Bad Boy Pistons, and everybody knows the Bad Boy Pistons with Isaiah. They've had the 30 for 30s. Isaiah Thomas, who's probably the most underrated athlete ever. Joe Dumars, great defender. Jordan said best lockdown defender he ever faced. Joe Dumars, great. Bill Laimbeer. Bill Laimbeer was the original stretch. Bill Laimbeer was the original center, the big, that used to stretch and shoot threes and could hit them. You know, John Sally, Buda Edwards, Dennis Rodman, just a great team. So think about it. I said born in 78. They won back-to-back 89-90. So I'm a 12, 13-year-old. Could you have more of a sweet spot for sports fandom than a 12, 13-year-old? I couldn't get enough of it. And then a few years later, 10, 12 years later, I was lucky enough. Yes, they should have won in 88. That's absolutely right. I was lucky enough to get that second iteration of a great basketball team. But a basketball team that kind of resembles what the Pacers are, if we're being honest. You remember the Bad Boy Pistons who beat that super team, the Lakers. Remember, the Lakers had Kobe and Shaq. And Kobe and Shaq hated each other at that point. I get it. But they had Kobe and Shaq. And then they brought in Karl Malone and the point guard from the Sonics, Gary Payton. And the Pistons beat them. But that was a team that had, if you can think of a team that had no superstars that's won a championship in the NBA, 8-8, 6-2-3, 36-46. Because if you think about that, Chauncey, Rip, Tayshaun Prince, Ben Wallace, John Barry, Rasheed Wallace, there wasn't a superstar on the team. The actual team itself was the superstar. The defense, the cohesion, Larry Brown, that was a special run. So talking about the Pacers kind of makes me think of them. Maybe Halliburton's a superstar, but it's more of the unit, cohesiveness, and confidence. I've told this story many times, but I was living in Charleston, South Carolina when they were playing the Lakers, and I was landscaping, maybe working at a car wash, just not taking advantage of that college degree. And I told the dude I was cutting lawns with, I was like, yeah, I'm not going to be here for a couple of days. And he said, why? And I said, I'm going to Michigan. He said, what are you going to Michigan for? I said, I'm going to watch the Pistons take on the Lakers. He's like, well, how many days are you going to be off? I'm like, I'm just going to be off 1 or 2 days. I went to the local rental, Avis or whatever. And I was like, hey, can I get a car? And they're like, sure. And I was like, cool. Got a rental, drove the 800-plus miles from Charleston, South Carolina, up to Auburn Hills, Michigan. Went to the game, shot the Stoney and Wojo with Matt Derry, the whole crew. Went to the game, slept in the car, maybe because I didn't want to drive, I can't remember. Went and said hi to my family, and then drove all the way back down to South Carolina and got back on that mower the next day. Oh, by the way, when I returned the car to the rental agent, you know how they do the thing? They're like, hey, how was your trip? I'm like, it's great. And they took a look, and they were like, oh, let's check the odometer. You drove 1,700 miles? I don't think that's legal. I was like, nobody told me. And got the hell out of Dodge. Got to support your team. And I did. 888-623-3646. We'll mix in a call here, and we'll come back with yours. Get your thoughts on the Pacers. I really think that's the story. Honestly, they're special. So much has been made about the 68-win Thunder, but the Pacers have shown to be special, and they deserve their props. It's VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio. Let's go to Jacksonville and say hi to Brian to start the program. Hi, Brian.
How we doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm great. I wanted to talk about, I heard you said that Drake lost like $800,000. Man, anybody in their right mind would have taken Indiana last night. For one thing, if Indiana hadn't won, we wouldn't have nothing to watch Sunday. It wouldn't be a cut and picking thing on TV Sunday. But maybe the WNBA. That was already set up for Indiana to win. Now, I'm going to tell you about Sunday's game. OKC going to blow them out in the third quarter. They're not going to blow them out early because NBA don't want everybody to stop watching the game early. But by the third quarter, OKC will be up probably by 25. This thing is all set up. And
there it is.
In the world, Indiana is going to win the championship. So,
well, we do have a bad connection, but a good call. We do have more basketball. Let me just go. I'm going to pull up the awards market. You know what? Let me come back and get your calls. I'm going to pull up the MVP market because I see a couple of people talking about the MVP. Like, it was pretty much set in stone that it was going to be SGA, but it will be fascinating to see what happens if the Pacers were to win it. But that seems to be the pretty common theme is, that was a nice performance from the Pacers. There's going to be a course correction from the Thunder. Little Lee Corso, not so fast. Could be looking at a special team with the Pacers. It's VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson. Welcome back to VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Here's Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson.
All right, VSiN is on SiriusXM Channel 158. Get 24/7 sports betting coverage on Channel 158 and on the great SiriusXM app. And as an exclusive offer, SiriusXM listeners, you can get full VSiN Pro access. That gets you everything, a daily email, all the best bets, exclusive betting splits, Circa, and DraftKings, plus our NFL betting guide, which is the best in the business. Go to VSiN.com/subscribe. Use the promo code SIRIUS to get your first month of VSiN Pro access for $158. It's VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio. Got the squad, Adam Loxley, I believe, like the coach at Maryland, Isaiah Ramirez, Donkey, and Ryan Smith, the GOAT, and me, Patrick Meagher, as we say hi. We're talking about the Pacers, and honestly, I wanted to give you the updated odds on the MVP. So right now, Gilgeous-Alexander is your favorite in the market. I don't think anybody would be surprised by that. Siakam has jumped up to be the second betting favorite at plus 390. The Jalen Williams train is gone. He's plus 1,000. Tyrese is plus, he's 12-1. TJ McConnell is plus 13,000. But he has been special in this series with the steals and the dimes, and he'll give you 9 points, and he'll give you boards. He's been great. But again, the theme here is the Pacers have been special, and Sunday night, it's going to be interesting. The Thunder are laying 7.5. If you believe in the Pacers, they're plus 250 on the money line. $100 gets you back 250. And there's going to be a lot of people up there in the cornfields in Indiana talking about the Pacers are going to get this done and win the Larry O'Brien, which would be crazy because before the season started, nobody saw it coming. Entering the postseason, nobody saw it coming. They were the 4th seed in the East, and here they are forcing a Game 7. Let's get your calls, 888-623-3646, and go to Bama, Alabama, and say hi to Derek. Hi, Derek.
Hey, Patrick.
Hey, Derek.
I agree. A couple of things. One, I agree with what you're talking about as far as the super team with Indiana in comparison to that Detroit team, because no true superstar, but as a unit, they were unbelievable. And boy, you brought up a sensitive topic, Patrick, with that '88 Pistons team, because God didn't put us on this earth to hate things the way I hated that Lakers dynasty. But people don't remember how that Game 6 ended. That was that game where Isaiah got injured, of course.
Isaiah had 24. Isaiah had 24 on that ankle in the third quarter. You remember.
Oh, yeah. And then Joe Dumars hits 2 free throws with like 45 seconds. They're up 3. And people across the nation, if you think that shot by Halliburton was lucky the first game, go check out Byron Scott's shot that got him within 1 right before Kareem hit 2 free throws. I mean, he didn't mean to bank that shot in, and it gave the Lakers another title. Oh, my gosh, how the dynamics of basketball would be so different as we talk about it had the Pistons won that. So
that was I may or may not have cried when and you know what Kareem I remember Derek Kareem as a kid. I just thought he was unstoppable. Like that, his skyhook was just, you couldn't stop him. Even at that age, he was unstoppable. We didn't have an answer for Kareem.
Hey, Patrick, go watch the '86 Western Conference Finals. Olajuwon annihilated him, like 35 points to 17. I mean, Derek, he was later in his career. No, he won the MVP of the finals in '85 during that Memorial Day massacre. No. I mean, Olajuwon killed him. And he would kill him one-on-one. I know basketball is not one-on-one, but still. I mean, if you turn a bow, I mean, I know what you're talking about. But he also able to use that left arm to shield people away, too.
Oh, yeah.
And Olajuwon blocked his skyhook 3 times a game during that '86 Western Conference Finals. Go watch it. It's pretty incredible.
It's a great call, Derek. I would say a lot. Well, I would say we didn't have an answer. The Pistons didn't have an answer for Kareem. Derek, you bring up an interesting player. Olajuwon, if I just said that Isaiah may be one of the more underrated players, is it proper to say that Olajuwon is underrated? because he was special. Like, as skilled as your pot, and sometimes you talk about, oh, well, he couldn't play in this. Hakeem Olajuwon could play in any generation in bare feet. That guy was something. So it doesn't surprise me that he would pop off against Kareem. Kareem got away with a lot, and he had the goggles on. It made you bitter. He was older during the late 80s, but you just couldn't. It was literally automatic. It was cheat code. I used to get so freaking pissed. Oh, I hated. It was funny because if you think about it, I couldn't stand the Showtime Lakers. I really couldn't stand Boston either. And Boston legitimately bullied and attacked Lambeer. But that is a player that I would imagine, even to this day, guys hate Bill Lambeer. Hate him with a passion, with a red-hot passion. Lambeer is a player that is like, I can't even think of a player across the four majors that was hated, and even to this day, more than Bill Lambeer. Literally. But I tell you, if you were a Detroit Pistons fan, you freaking loved him. And he could stretch. He could pop out and hit a three. He was a very good player. Very good player. Let's say hi to Antonio in California. Hi, Antonio.
Hey, what's going on, man? The weather's nice here. First day of summer in California. Hey, lifelong Warrior fan. I still remember Pasquale's killing us in 2019. Besides KD getting hurt, who knows what would have happened? But I'm a basketball junkie, man. I love this game. The NBA is fantastic, but I can't wait till Sunday night, man. And I kind of was talking to my buddies. Is it a possibility that TJ, with another kind of crazy night, a couple inbound steals, somehow steal the MVP if they somehow beat OKC? I know you gave me the numbers on it, but I'm excited, man. I think somehow if Halliburton gets me at least 20 and Pasquale gets 20, he had 32 against us a couple years ago in 2019. I think somehow the Pacers steal this.
Listen, my bank account says I hope you're wrong, but as a fan, I actually, how you ever have those games in a vacuum where you kind of turn on a team? Where it's almost like I sit here and extol the virtues of this defense and SGA and Williams, and then you go out and you're just pitiful. And that's what they were last night. They were dogs. They were pitiful. You almost then start turning like, you know what? Pacers. They're special. They do. You know what? They do have some sort of a comparison. Now, Halliburton probably would be considered a star. I don't know if he's considered at this point a superstar, but a comparison to those 02, 03, 04-ish Pistons is apt because they're getting such contributions from everybody, including the bench. And the Pistons had a good bench. The Pistons had a great starting five. They really did. But they didn't have a superstar. They just didn't. 888-623-3646. Let's go and say hi to our buddy Biscuit in Houston. Hey, Biscuit.
Hey, what's up, my brother?
How you doing?
Man, listen, man. I try to tell you, man. You don't want to listen to me. I try to tell you, watch out for them Pacers, man. and it's amazing. You had a few callers back talking about OKC going to blow them out and they're going to win by 25. I don't think people really give Rick Carlisle the credit that he deserves. The subtle moves that he's making in this series, especially that last game, with the defense, how he switched it up instead of picking them up full court, picking them up in three quarters. And then when SG or Williams got below the free throw line, they would run over and double them and get the ball out of their hands. Man, I'm telling you, the Pacers are primed to win this thing. And the reason I think is because I believe the depth of the Pacers is more than OKC. OKC usually wins on their depth. That's how they beat Denver, is with their depth. But that's not the case in this series. And the area that I'm watching, the key category, is turnovers. As long as Indiana has, say, maybe 10 or fewer turnovers, I think they can win the game.
Well, they forced a billion. They forced 21 turnovers. and turned them into points, too, the Pacers last night against the Thunder. They forced 21 turnovers, and 8 of those, Gilgeous-Alexander. He was just not good. You mentioned Carlisle. I thought Carlisle was awesome in the game with his substitution patterns as well. They did mix up the defense, which was impressive. You know, Carlisle's had a very interesting career. He started in 01 in Detroit, and I told you, remember, they flipped to Larry Brown, but he coached 2 seasons in Detroit and went 50-32 in both seasons, and then lost in the semis and lost in the conference finals his final year, his second year with Detroit. Lost in the conference finals. I couldn't believe, and Joe Dumars was running the Pistons at the time. He fired Carlisle, which showed, you know, maybe he felt Carlisle wasn't quite ready, brought in Larry Brown, as I mentioned. But then remember, Carlisle went to Indiana and coached the Pacers 4 years. And then he went to Dallas and he coached the Mavs. I think this might shock you, this number. Carlisle coached the Mavs for 13 seasons. And in 10-11, he won the championship. And remember, that's when he beat the Heat. And now he's been back with the Pacers 3. This is his 4th year. Lost in the conference finals last year, and now is just forced to Game 7. He's putting together a hell of a resume. If he were to pick up a championship here, you're starting to get in rarefied air. If Carlisle were to win one with Dallas and then come back to the Pacers and win one with the Pacers and beat this Oklahoma City team on their wood in Game 7, we're talking special. 888-623-3646. It's VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio. We've got Matt Moore at the top of the hour. When we come back, we're going to keep this magical South American soccer run going, people. And that's for you, Shaka, in Atlanta, who I know has been part of the family. Steve Torrey, part of the family. Hey, Babchick, put down the Bud Light Lime and pick up the betting app because we're coming back with Ecuadorian soccer. It's VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson. covering the spread all night long. This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Here's Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson.
All right, the Indiana Pacers have forced a Game 7 with a win last night over the Oklahoma City Thunder. We've been talking about it. 2025 NBA Finals are going the distance with the series now tied at 3s. Tune in right now to, maybe not right now, but SiriusXM NBA Radio Channel 86 for full reaction, exclusive interviews, and expert analysis as we get you ready for Sunday's championship showdown. It's all happening on Channel 86 or wherever you are on your SiriusXM app. Always a little odd telling people to go tune, although I do love NBA Radio. You can find it on the app as well. My guy Justin Terminator over there on NBA Radio acting a fool. But yeah, no, Sunday's going to be great. Do we want to lose the momentum going into Game 7? No, we do not. But that's what's happening. We'll get it 5 o'clock my time, 8 o'clock your time on the East, Game 7 with the Pacers, who have shown themselves to be pretty special. Gosh damn it. Brazil's killing me. But that doesn't matter because I'm not concerned about Brazilian soccer right now. Those of you, this Wednesday, Thursday, the big guy, obviously, in New York doing whatever the hell he's doing. So I said, we're going to get a little weird on the program. And we just started betting South American soccer. We started on Wednesday with Ecuador. We hit the over in the first half. Nothing to see here, people. And then yesterday we went to Colombia, Boricua. All right? Now check this out. For bettors that don't understand, let me just explain what happened. Millonarios is taking on Santa Fe. Never heard of them, don't know anything about them, but the total was set at 2. So what does that mean? They play a 90-minute match plus extra time. You know how soccer works. It's 45 minutes first half, 45 minutes in the second half, and then there's always the official gives extra time. So I'm over here flexing because I said we're going Santa Fe Millonarios over 2 goals. What happens? Santa Fe gets a goal in the second minute of the game. 1-0. Bam! Then I'm doing an interview with somebody. I interrupt them, and I'm like, we got an announcement. Santa Fe has scored another goal in the 9th minute. So you can do the math. There's still 81 minutes of soccer to be played, plus extra time. So it's 2-0. I told you. I told the family. I texted friends. I said, South America, we're killing it. We're on Santa Fe, Millonarios, over 2 goals. Well, 2 goals in the first 10 minutes, and now it's 90 minutes deep, and it's still 2-0. So I'm starting to sweat a little bit because I don't want – now, if you land 2 goals, you get your money back, but I want to win this bet for you, for the family. So I'm looking, and I'm following on my phone because you ain't going to find Colombian soccer here in America on YouTube TV. So I couldn't watch the game, but I'm following on my phone, and there's 14 minutes of extra time added. So what does that mean? We played full 90 in soccer, and the official, due to injuries, due to stoppage, whatever it is, they've added 14 minutes of extra time. So now all of a sudden I'm like, all right, it's 2-0. We need 1 more goal, and we've got 14 minutes of extra time. A minute passes, nothing. 5 minutes passes, nothing. 7 minutes passes, nothing. 10 minutes pass, nothing. We're going to push this bet. I'm bitter. I'm trying to do this for you. It's from my heart. 13 minutes pass, 2-0. No goals. We are now into the 14th minute of extra time, and I'm looking at my app. Bam! Millonarios with a goal, 2-1. Last seconds of the match, winner. A South American, straight up fat winner. So you know what? I'm feeling good. Kind of like the Pacers headed down to Oklahoma City. When you get that Mo and Ryan Smith, this is for you. Isaiah Ramirez, this is for you. Adam Loxley stuffing his face with pastries back in New York City, this is for you. Even that freak Jacob Babchick. Steve Torrey, don't get it twisted. Steve Torrey is a degen. He likes to gamble. And so if you're interested, family time. We're going back to Ecuador, people. Ecuador coming up in just about 4 minutes. Twizzy, I see you. Anybody else with an app that's not getting down with this, I don't know what to tell you. We're going to win. We are betting Ecuadorian soccer. Técnico Universitario versus Libertad. Yeah, I said it. Técnico Universitario versus Libertad. We're going over 2.25. Asian handicap. 2 gets you half your money back. 3 goals, winner. Over 2.25. Técnico Universitario versus Libertad. And by the way, you might sprinkle a little bit on Libertad at home plus 115 to win it, but I said just a sprinkle. Let's keep the South American special going here on VSiN Live. And I want at the Rap Radio, hit us up. I want to know if you're tailing the bet because the game is going to be over by the time I sign off. So we're going to be following along on the app in real time. And if you get involved, you collect the cash with me and the rest of the family. All right? Again, Ecuador over 2.25. The University of I don't know how to say it, versus Libertad. You have 2 minutes to get your bet in. Don't sleep. When we come back, Matt Moore, Action Network, does a great job writing about the NBA. He'll have picks, he'll have props, and he'll have a proper breakdown of the Pacers headed to the Thunder in Oklahoma City for Game 7 on Sunday. 1 hour down, 2 to go. It's VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
Covering the spread all night long. This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Now back to VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson.
Okay, VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio. Remember the VSiN newsletter. You can hear a story with our buddy Bill A.D. hanging out at Circa with UNLV football coach Dan Mullen last night. Just go to vsin.com/newsletter. You enter your email address. There's no obligation. It's completely free. You wake up in the morning, and boom, it's right there with your betting menu for the day. Some free picks in there as well. So it's vsin.com/newsletter. We've got a Game 7, obviously. Last night, the Pacers pummeled the Thunder, so we head back to Oklahoma City for Game 7, NBA Finals on Sunday to discuss a guy that's been with us for many, many years, Matt Moore, who does a great job as an NBA insider over at actionnetwork.com, also HP Basketball on Twitter. And we say hi to our buddy Matt Moore. Thank you for a few minutes on a Friday, Matt. You know, we had a couple of callers mention they thought Carlisle made great adjustments last night. Let's start there. Did you see anything different from the Pacers and Carlisle?
Yeah, so I think a big key in whenever you're trying to face a great player like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is you want to keep him off guard. You want to keep him and not have him not know really what to expect. And for much of the series, they've been pressing him beyond half court all the way up the floor, really trying to apply pressure and wear him down that way. And after Game 5, they responded by coming out in Game 6 and then playing way more conservative and kind of playing a shell defense, not letting him really be able to find a lot of runway angles, containing assist opportunities, almost no assists for the Thunder last night. It's a big gap in the series with even the potential assists. So the ability to kind of shut down Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's ability to kind of warp the defense, I think initially was a big kind of change with how they did that. Moving Andrew Nembhard into less aggressive defensively and then more aggressive offensively, I think got the Thunder a little mixed up. OKC was really kind of caught off guard by some of these changes, and it allowed the Pacers to be able to put their foot on the proverbial pedal and speed away for the win.
Yeah, and listen, Indiana opened 0 of 8 from the field. They were down 10-2 early, and then they're up 30 at the end of the third quarter. Let me just simply ask you, Matt, are you blown away that we're getting a Game 7 in this series?
I would have been blown away if we started out, if you told me that after, before Game 1. But after Game 1, it really flipped the entire series. Because then it's, okay, they've already got one, and they know that they can get one in Indiana. That Game 3 was a great spot for them. We love them over at Action Network to take Game 3. Okay, then the Thunder is a great spot in Game 4, 2-2 series, probably going to lose Game 5. But by taking that first one and knowing that Game 3 was such a good spot, that ensured you had a Game 6. And if you've got this Game 6, and you've got Rick Carlisle, and you've got this ability to make this adjustment, how the Pacers have responded so often to situations where no one gave them much of a chance throughout the entirety of this postseason, I wasn't surprised that it was going 7. We got a really good price given out on our podcast buckets on Pacers to win the series from behind after they took Game 3, thinking the Thunder would take 4 and 5. And so that's why for Game 7, we've gotten good prices on Thunder in 7 as well throughout this series. So there's been these kind of opportunities, but you had to really kind of get away from our priors, which just said OKC was so much better. Like before the series, I thought this was going to be quick. But the minute that the Pacers stole Game 1, it was able to flip the entire script for the rest of the series on its head. And that's why that Game 1 win was so incredible, and that's why we're here in Game 7.
Matt Moore, our buddy, actionnetwork.com, HP Basketball on Twitter, talking NBA Finals. And I'll get to the Thunder. I want to bring up two players in particular for the Pacers, and that's McConnell and Toppin. Toppin had 20. McConnell had 12 points, but that doesn't really tell the story. He had 9 boards, 6 assists, the 4 steals. How important have those two been to the Pacers forcing a Game 7?
Yeah, man, Toppin's been huge because OKC has the 2 bigs, and they've obviously struggled in the series trying to figure out how to deploy them effectively, throwing out all sorts of lineups, 1 big, 2 big, 3 big, redfish, bluefish, trying to figure out the right combo in this series. And that doesn't happen unless Toppin is able to come in and play this power forward position so effectively and give them this small ball unit next to Siakam, where Miles Turner's had a really rough series. He's had a hard time dealing with OKC's closeouts and how they rebound and their interior, how their smalls defend on switches. It's been a tough series for him. And so if they hadn't gotten some Toppin, especially these 3-pointers, which are so valuable, they would have been really sunk. McConnell's interesting because I still kind of feel like, they've got the ability to really get into his handle and deter him, and he's still just kind of finding ways to be effective, whether it's just random broken plays, stealing the inbound passes, just straight-up basketball hustle plays. It's the kind of stuff that you really can't scheme or diagram for because McConnell is just kind of ad-libbing and making things happen, and that's the best thing I think you can get from your sixth man.
We've been watching this Oklahoma City team all year, and they've been special. Whatever metric you want to point to, just special. I have to believe, you could tell me that's the worst performance of the year from them. The 21 turnovers, 8 by SGA. What went wrong besides everything for the Thunder last night?
Yeah, I mean, look, when it really kind of got away from them, and I think what was most surprising, and maybe a little bit worrisome, I would say this is a little worrisome. So Dagnall comes out second half and he puts Alex Caruso in the starting lineup to start that second half. That's not a small adjustment. He hasn't gone to that yet. He started Casey Wallace. He's kept Caruso coming off the bench. He goes back to the double big. He moves away from the double big in that second half and goes to this lineup that everyone's kind of been like, this could be like the one that puts Indiana away because Caruso has been so effective. He goes in that second half, and it's the one that gets blown off the floor. That was their worst lineup, was that unit with one big and Alex Caruso in the place of it. So I think kind of tipping that hand was concerning. But before that, I think Halliburton being able to be effective caught them off guard. I think they were a little surprised. And I do think that it is okay for OKC to show signs of immaturity or inexperience during this championship run that they want to be on, and not have it be like a defining factor or there's no way they can win. Like, they can win on Sunday and they win the title, but they were always going to face some of these problems of inexperience and being a little tight in big games. Like the Larry O'Brien trophy was in the building last night, and clearly I think that got to them a little bit. Now, I think it was more Indiana and what they did defensively. But I do think that OKC got shook and way off of their game again. And honestly, outside of Game 5, we haven't seen the Thunder look like themselves much in this series, which is going to make Sunday very interesting.
I'm surprised to see Matt Moore joining us. I'm surprised for Sunday to see that number settle in at 7.5. That's respect. Remember, I think we closed, Game 5, 9.5 in Oklahoma City. So a 2-point adjustment by the market here. The total has completely dropped, Matt, down to 214.5. What's your take on the side in total for Sunday?
Yeah, I think if you're looking for OKC, it's obviously a great buy point. It's important to remember this opened still 9 and just immediately moved 8.5, and then today it moved 8 and then 7.5. And that's what surprised me is last night I was on, our post-game show live on Buckets, and I was like, well, okay, we'll see if the OKC money comes in overnight. And instead, no, more Pacers money came in. Now, the Thunder may get hit on game day. That's happened a lot throughout these playoffs with the other team kind of a few signs, and then on game day, some groups come in and bet OKC. But I do think it's an interesting question of how you want to be in on this. I personally, I like Indiana. I really do. I think if there's one team that can go on the road to win this game, it's the Pacers. And getting 260 or better in the market, that to me is the side that I want to be on. And all of the data about home teams in Game 7 hasn't really shown up over the last 20 years. Like, most of that was prior to the three-point really revolution. And so we've seen the decline of home court advantage. So we're seeing, I think, a lot of these trends not necessarily hold up. And one more interesting one, the last couple of teams to win Game 6 at home and go on the road as a dog have won that Game 7, which I think is very interesting. A lot of, I think, new era in these Game 7 situations. So the total, it's under or nothing, but you've already been squeezed out of the market so much. Yeah. I would play an under on whichever team you think is going to lose on a team total is how I would play it, because it's already just been squeezed so much. The trends are all screaming this is an under spot. All these games past the conference, past the second round, go under. I'm just a little hesitant because I am like, look, both these teams can put up big numbers individually on their own in a win. Do you really think that the Pacers are going to put up 80 or less? That gets concerning for me. So I think there's probably like a little bit of value on the over at this point with how much it's moved. But I'm going to be mostly staying away from the total.
Matt Moore, Action Network. Matt, I read you because your breakdowns are amazing. The numbers, the metrics. I'm a little bit more. Sometimes I take the human part of it. And listen, I know the metrics don't believe in momentum, but I can't imagine a team like the Pacers headed down to Oklahoma City with more confidence right now and just a better vibe. Like that is a team right now that's feeling themselves and not afraid.
So I think what's interesting there is, typically we don't want to overreact to any individual game. Like you want to stay away from those kind of narratives. Like those are dangerous in betting. And we've done that in the series where after the Thunder won game 2, everybody was like, they got game 1, but this is done. And nope, we're right back. And then game 3, and are the Thunder in trouble? It's like, no, they can win a game on the road, game 4. And we just keep kind of snapping back and forth. But I do think that with the Pacers team in particular, I just look at it as they are so unbothered. Remember, this team in its first playoff run a year ago walked into Madison Square Garden in Game 7, and before all the injuries hit, built a lead. They were already in position to steal that game. That tells you there's something different about this squad. They are dangerous. They are together. They are flexible. They are malleable. They can play on both ends, and they are not fazed by any sort of moment in front of them. And if this is a 5-point game late, you are gonna want to be on the Pacers side with how they performed in these playoffs. So it should be a great game. I'm looking forward to seeing how it plays out.
The MVP market, obviously SGA is still a big-time favorite. You've seen Siakam creep up as the second betting favorite. How do you view that market?
Yeah, I grabbed Tyrese Haliburton at halftime of Game 6 when it was a huge number. So a lot of value on that one. I still think there's a possibility that Haliburton's able to steal this because if we look at how kind of the flow, especially with Game 1 and the way that Haliburton was able to take that game on his own, I think that there's if he has another strong performance after coming out on the calf injury and winning Game 6 off of that calf after taking Game 1, the voters that are going to vote on this award are mostly storytellers. There's some analysts, but they're mostly storytellers. And I think they're going to be moved if Haliburton has a big Game 7. I think Siakam's been the best player. I think he should be the favorite for the Pacers. But if the Pacers do win this game, I do think Haliburton is live to take that award.
Yeah, it's very well put. It's going to be depressing. We'll say goodbye after this, but it's going to be depressing after – this has been a fun 2 months for the NBA. Like, if you think about it, even this finals, people want to talk about the ratings, go for it. But this has been a pretty magical NBA postseason. Yeah,
it's been amazing. We've had so many incredible moments. That Clippers-Nuggets series, Aaron Gordon's game winner in the second round, the miracle dunk at the wall. You've gotten the Knicks upset to the Celtics. You've got the Haliburton and everything that he's done. These playoffs have been unpredictable. They've been incredible, and it's been a lot of fun to watch and to bet.
Matt Moore, enjoy the game. Always appreciate you. ActionNetwork.com for the information, the podcast, HP Basketball on Twitter. Thanks, Matt. Appreciate you.
Thanks, man. Take care. Okay,
you too. Yeah, he mentioned something. We've got a goal, people. Hello? We've got a goal. Libertad. Now, I mentioned Libertad Técnico Universitario in Ecuador. We went over the 2.25, but I also said plus 115. You might want to be loose as a goose and bet Libertad. And right now, Libertad in the 14th minute leads 1-0. All right, let's keep the South American run here on VSiN Live going in soccer. Speaking of soccer, we're going to have Brian Dunseth joining us later in the program, talking about the U.S. men's national team and all the drama that is. Something Matt mentioned, Isaiah Ramirez, he doesn't even, and our buddy Adam Loxley, he can't stop stuffing his face back in New York City. Those two donks, they're not team players. They're not part of the I know Ryan Smith is, in Vegas. Shaka in Atlanta, and others, that's family. I'm working with a bunch of people that don't believe. Could we go 3 in a row in South America? That would be belief. Matt Moore mentioned it's a story. So generally the way it goes with the MVP, if you're thinking about the MVP, it's kind of like this. The best team in the series, the voters will say, all right, well, it's SGA's award to lose. And so he's almost like anointed. And then if he does something to lose it, they'll look elsewhere. So SGA is like minus 330, somewhere in there to win. So will be fascinating to see what happens. And again, and I'm going to get to our buddy Al because he called and told us about the Pacers. I started with the Pacers today. There was no excuses made for the Oklahoma City Thunder. Horrific in that game. But the Pacers are special. I mean, I feel so stupid. I really do. The Pacers, they're badasses. When it mattered, they forced the 21 turnovers. Started off terribly in the game, never got shook. As a matter of fact, I think if you think about, like, if you go back the other way, now back to Oklahoma City, I think there's one team with all of the pressure on them. You don't believe in pressure? Do what you want with that information. But the Pacers are flying down to Oklahoma City to take their lunch. It's 7.5 on the number. You can bet, if you're betting the Pacers, you can get plus 250 on the money line. That's it. One game to go, plus 250, winner take all. Can't wait for Sunday. I mean, I can wait for Sunday because I do appreciate the weekend, but I'm excited to see that guy. I'm really excited to see how SGA and Williams come out because Williams goes 40 in Game 5 and he's a minus 40 in Game 6. He was terrible. SGA couldn't stop turning the football over. Hey, where's your head at, brother? Basketball. Let's get to your calls. Alfred, White Plains. Hello.
Ye of little faith.
I'm a donk. I'm a buster. I agree.
Well, first of all, you're absolute. I told you you are the all-time buster. Right?
Yep, true.
Number one, I have not asked you in forever. How's Jeezy?
Jeezy is laying literally right by my feet, and she's wonderful. She's 7 years old. Thank you very much, Al, for asking.
Okay. Because I have not asked you in a while, so I was concerned, and I felt bad that I didn't ask.
It's very nice.
Other topics. I could not agree with your prior guest more, who just told you same thing I've been telling you for at least a month. This is a team that simply no one wants to give any respect to. Enough with the data. Enough with they have the greatest victory. I don't give a shit how much they won games by with their 68 wins. And that's great. And they're a very good, young, terrific team. And I don't dislike them. And, everything says they'll probably win. And I don't believe that, if they lose, this season is a failure. This season is a massive success and will be crowned if Oklahoma City wins. But they played in a crappy division. Their road to the finals, despite the fact that they're in the West, was not as hard as the Pacers road. They smoked the Memphis team with best players at criminal in a state of disarray. All right. Who did they beat next?
They beat Milwaukee. They beat the Knicks. They beat the Cavs.
Who did OKC beat after they supposed to?
Oh, they beat Memphis. Then they beat Denver.
With the best player on the planet, with 5 guys, 2 of them banged up, and I told you very early, and I know you remember. What worried me is they took them 7 games. And then they beat a Minnesota team who struggled the ball across half court. Who did Indiana beat? They beat a Milwaukee team who they smoked with one of the 4 or 5 best players absolutely on the planet. They beat the team with the second best record in the league yes, who lost a couple guys early, but had them back and then smoked them in 5. And they beat the Knicks, who beat the defending champs. So their road was at least as hard, if not more difficult, than OKC. And they still get no respect. And I'm not saying it's you. I'm saying it's what do all the Sharps do? Well, you know better than me. This is your network. They play on the public. Where will the public play? How they were a massive road dog at home last night, I don't care if I was playing point guard, is beside me. They just don't get it. The guts and heart and moxie and depth of this team is fabulous. They may get smoked in Game 7, but I told everybody who would listen, this is going to be a competitive series because this team knows how to play. They play the right way. They all contribute. And Obi Toppin could be 1 for 15 tomorrow night. It doesn't matter. What is everybody watching? Use your eyes. If you didn't think this was going to be a competitive series, you are clueless. You have no idea. And they'll probably win, but enough with like all-time team, great team, 68 wins. They're young. They're really good. Let's leave it at that. Don't put them with the Warriors, even if they win. Don't put them with the, how dare you, the Bulls, the Lakers, the Celtics, the Sixers. Obviously, this says 33 in a row with Lakers. This team couldn't shine their shoes. We'll see what happens in Game 7.
Mic drop. You and your son have a great weekend. That is my guy, Alan White Plains. To be fair, he was all over this Pacers team. Hey, Ramirez, back in New York City. Put your mic on. And I want to hear from everybody here. You got me, Donk?
Hey, what's up, man?
Okay. All right. I just have an announcement to make. All right. Libertad has scored again. It is 2-0 in the 22nd minute down in Ecuador. We are 1 goal away from cashing the over. I told you also to bet Libertad. Did you bet it?
Patrick, I still don't have FanDuel or any type of betting service on my phone, but our week together has really put me towards downloading the app because this is.
You're welcome.
You're on a generational run right now.
It's a heater in South America. It's a freaking heater in South America right now. Ryan Smith, let's go. I see you. Move to the side. I want to hear from that big donk, Adam. Adam. Did you? Yes. Did you? Are you a part of the family tonight with Libertad and Técnico Universitario in Ecuador over 2.25?
I did not bet. No.
Okay. All right. I like to find out who my friends are and who my family is. You understand what I'm saying? Donk?
Yeah, I said good things about the Pistons tonight.
You did. Now shut off your mic because
Okay.
I'm over you two. You freaking donk. Ryan Smith, thank you. Shaka in Atlanta, thank you. Let's say hi to our buddy Tony in Detroit. Hey, Tony.
Patrick, that the engineer you just talked to, that kind of sounds like.
Hold on, Tony. Hold on. I'm going to put you on hold. Bad connection. Let me see if that worked. Let's see. I'm going to come back to you, Tony. Don't go anywhere. We'll put you on hold. You've got a bad cell. Matt, our buddy in Chicago here on VSiN Live. Hi, Matt. Did I not click it? Matt, you got me?
I'm here. Patrick?
Hey, buddy. Yes, sir.
Hey, how's it going? Long time no speak. 2 quick things. One, quick gambling thing. If you like the Pacers money line before Game 6, I think they went off around plus 180 to plus 190. There was an opportunity because of the way the numbers were. If you took, instead of doing that, you could have taken the Thunder to win 4 games to 3, so in 7 games at plus 400, and the Pacers to win the series at plus 1250, and you lock in that instead of the money line. So that's just a way to look at some of the stuff. If you're thinking about one kind of bet, there's other stuff out there that might be a little bit better play. So
it's a great call, Matt. Absolutely. Get creative with it. Shop for the best number, 100%. What else you got for me?
So a little soccer. So there's multiple competitions going on in our country right now, and it's kind of strange. Nobody's talking about it at all. You got the CONCACAF Gold Cup, but this new club, the new format for the club, they're calling it the World Cup, Club World Cup. I don't know if you're following that at all.
Yes.
It's actually been an interesting tournament. You might remember I'm a Manchester United fan. They're not in it. It's kind of strange. Liverpool's not in it. Barcelona's not in it because the qualifying was like over a 4-year period. A little complicated, but it's been interesting. The South American teams have performed pretty well. I would draw your attention tonight here, coming up at 8 o'clock. You got Bayern and Boca Juniors. It's a heavyweight clash. Boca tied with Benfica, another top European team, 2-2 in their first match. They actually probably should have won. Bayern might be a step too far. I actually kind of like them to win the whole thing. I think that's around plus 650 right now. But that's a game worth watching. It's on regular cable, TBS. But nobody's talking about this.
You and I are the only ones.
The biggest clubs in the world are playing.
It's the FIFA Club World Cup. And by the way, Flamengo out of Brazil beat Chelsea today.
Yep.
And LAFC
played well.
Yeah, LAFC they have actually. LAFC lost to a team from Tunisia today.
Did you see the end of that game? They got a penalty deep into stoppage time, and the goalie made an incredible save. They actually should have got a draw. It's been an interesting tournament. I mean, if you like soccer at all, you should be watching this. And the attendance has been kind of poor. It's strange.
Yeah, I get depressed when I see them show the crowds because it's like, come on, America, this is exciting. You get to see some of the best talent. Bayern is minus 360 against Boca tonight, total of 3. But like you said, the South American teams have actually played well in this. Now, you don't expect the Boca Juniors to beat Bayern Munich, though.
No, I don't. I think it's probably a bridge too far. But if you're going to sprinkle something, take Boca draw no bet. That way you got a little insurance in case they can maybe pull off a draw. That's not impossible, especially the way they played against Benfica. I think that's definitely live. I wouldn't put a huge amount on it, but if you're going to bet it, take the draw no bet with it.
That's a sharp call, Matt. Good job. And he's 100% right. You can always get creative. If you just didn't want to take the plus 185 on Indiana last night, obviously if you thought Indiana was going to win instead of going there and you thought Oklahoma City was going to win in Game 7, you can go exact series price. So there's plenty of ways to get involved other than just the game. And, yeah, I mean, I've been into the soccer, the FIFA World Cup. I should say, yeah, the Club World Cup, which is a new contest. And then CONCACAF Gold Cup, which is for, obviously, CONCACAF is North America and Caribbean. They got Guatemala, Panama tonight. I've been dialed in. That is a horrific showing from an MLS team. Now, Tunisia, Esperance, who they played, apparently are good in Tunisia. My apologies. I don't know a ton about Tunisian football. I can tell you that we're up 2-0 with Libertad in Ecuador, though. And I got no support. That's the story of my life. A 47-year-old man here handing out freaking candy in South America. The only person that support me, as Al called up and mentioned, is the G-Ster. She has been a ride or die for 7 years. You know, Jeezy, she was hanging around during COVID as well. Yeah, she's just, I don't know, about 12 pounds. Got long-ass legs. She can run like the wind. Jeezy got tossed. This is my dog now. Jeezy got tossed behind a dumpster in East L.A. And I wasn't even really going to get a dog, but this lady that lived near me, I saw this little ad, and I went over there. And I said, look at that cute little girl. And here we are 7 years later. Isn't that right, G-Ster? 888-623-3646. Tony, Twizzy, rest of you, don't go anywhere. We continue. VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
This is...
All right, 4 minutes.
VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson. This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Maher and Dustin Swedelson.
Hey, the family's on fire. We're tracking well. Libertad, Técnico Universitario in Ecuador, 2-0. Ecuador, I should say, 2-0 right now. VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio. And did we not talk about the Tigers and Rays a little bit earlier before that game started? We gave out over 8 even money, and the Tigers trail the Rays 4-0 in the second inning. That's pacing well. Let's keep the magic here on VSiN Live. Cooking. Hey, Tony, call us back because Adam wants to know who he sounds like. We know he sounds like a donk. Let's get to your calls. Got plenty to do, plenty of baseball. We got Brian Dunseth at the top of the hour talking about the U.S. men's national team. We're a year out from the World Cup. A lot of drama. A lot of, and just get a feel for world soccer right now. It's kind of one of those, it's an international break where the regular leagues aren't playing. And you've got a bunch of contests. I mean, I love it. I got into soccer, I would say, let's see. I got into soccer, my guy Marco in New York in 2006. So going on 20 years, he got me into the EPL, the English Premier League. And once I got into that, I became a huge MLS fan, Major League Soccer, became huge Bundesliga, Liga MX in Mexico, obviously South America. I got that blanketed. Serie A, Italy, La Liga, Spain, and on and on. I love it. So we'll have Dunseth on the show. And it's kind of a bitter time for the U.S. men's national team because, you know, Pochettino, who's the head coach of the U.S. men's national team, he coached Tottenham forever, a really, really respected global coach. And he was like, Pulisic should be our Messi. Pulisic's not playing in these games. It's annoying. Let's say hi in Los Angeles to our buddy Twizzy. What's cracking?
What is up, Patrick? Man, what's going on?
What's happening?
Man, what's happening is your boy got in on the family bet, and I'm currently my app thing, that I watch TV on, man, I cut the cord like 12, 13 years ago, and it gets everything, and it has Ecuador TV. But what I didn't realize is how many channels in soccer game. I mean, there's 1 million soccer games cracking right now. And quiet as kept, don't tell nobody, I've never watched a complete soccer match ever in my life.
Wait, first off, I need that hookup where I can just somehow find some Ecuadorian soccer. Twizzy, you got the plug. And if you got in, we're sitting pretty. It's 2-0 right now. 37th minute. Got a lot of game to go to get one more goal. We're looking good.
I got in at a plus 150 is where I got it at, plus 150.
Nice.
So yeah, but I wanted to hit you with the finals. And look, I told you the other day that one of the things that the OKC was missing was another ball handler, playmaker, and man, was that glaring in that game yesterday because SGA, for whatever reason, he was turning the ball over like crazy, and nobody else can get their offense structured going, and that was the Indiana keyed in on that, and there was nothing after that point. There was nothing anyone on OKC could do, and hopefully that won't happen next game, and SGA won't have that deer in the headlights look. I'm not sure what that was. That's something I haven't really seen from him before, and man, we're in for a doozy. We wanted a game 7. Now I don't understand why we had to wait a whole week before game 1, 2 games before game 2, and I mean this thing is just spaced out, and it's tough of a hardcore fan of sports as I am. This is even tough for me.
Hey, Twizzy, I got breaking news. We cashed already in Ecuador, and let's freaking go. Libertad 3, Técnico Universitario nothing. We've already cashed the over, people. It's the family. Let's go.
Patrick, the other day when you asked me did I bet and you cashed in before half, I was so bitter. Can't even lie to you. I was so bad. I started scouring apps, and I said, I'm going to find one. And I found one. Bingo.
We cashed. Hey, by the way, that freaking Dodger-Padre rivalry is legit. They hate each other.
Oh, my goodness. I'm loving every second of it. I love Dave Roberts out there getting frisky. You know what I'm saying? I loved how, even though we didn't hit the field, I loved how all the Dodgers were up and ready. And if it wasn't for Ohtani just telling them, no, it's okay. Yep. Don't worry about it. They were ready. And that's what you want to see. You want to see them having every single guy having each other's back like that. That's the makings of another championship-type team. And, the Padres are a little brother. We smacked them around. Who cares? They've never stole anything from us.
Hey, that's just a nice little city down there with some nice weather. They ain't got no juice. That's my guy, Twiz, in Los Angeles. Big friend, longtime caller of the program and the network. But, the breaking news is, Adam, Isaiah, I don't want anything to do with you. I'm only focusing on the family. And that was a winner on Wednesday in South America. I'm not flexing. I'm just stating facts. A winner last night in the 14th minute of extra time. And we've got a winner in Ecuador in the 40th minute, 3-0, Libertad. And if you'll remember, I said plus 115 on Libertad, worth it as well. So that's the Jordan shrug. Hey, one thing about bettors, and listen, I just told you I was an idiot about the Pacers, so I'm not afraid to say I was wrong. But it's funny, too, because I've been doing this for so long that now, there's so many new people that are getting into the betting and all that kind of stuff. And it's like you'll only hear from them because most betting, if we're being completely honest, is a bunch of dudes. And what are dudes driven by? Ego. They got to be right. And I think they feel as though it makes them more of a man if they hit bets. I'm having fun with this South American thing, and if you happen to be making some cash tailing, I'm good with it. But it's funny to me. It's funny when you see all these kids coming into the industry, and they'll post on social media, I'm on a 12-2 run. I've hit 70% over the last 2 months. First off, no, you didn't. No, you certainly did not hit 70%. And if you did, that is not going to last. But you get a bunch of egotistical, and by the way, ego, that's essentially just insecurity. So you get a bunch of egotistical people bumping in, talking about sports betting, and all they do is flex when they win. They don't talk about when they lose. I'm giving you the bets on the air. If they lost, I'd take one. We just haven't lost yet. That's not. I'm just trying to get my guy Shaka in Atlanta some cash. When we come back, I do want to talk. 888 Mad Dog 6, 888-623-3646. We got Dunseth with the soccer at the top. I wanted to talk about that Dodger. If you missed it, there was some drama at Dodger Stadium last night. The Friars, the Padres and Dodgers, do not like each other. A little baseball. VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson. Sweat your bets with VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Here's Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson.
All right, VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio. We got you back here on a Friday. Hope you're having a nice week. Obviously, the big story coming out of last night, the Pacers forcing a Game 7, which we'll see in Oklahoma City on Sunday, as my grandma Salmon would say. And that number is 7.5. So that opened 9 and then bet down to 7.5. You got a low total there, expecting a defensive affair in a Game 7 where two teams are going to tighten down. Right now, Pacers are feeling special. Now, as you say that, the unpredictability so far in this postseason, as you talk about the Pacers being special, if you think when I say the Pacers are special, remember that all-time game by Halliburton against the Knicks where he had like a billion dimes and no turnovers, and then the next game they literally laid an egg. They did nothing. So we're hoping for a competitive game on Sunday and not a repeat of that, but I'm looking forward to it, to be honest with you. And I told you, put a lot of money as soon as Game 3 finished and the Thunder found themselves in a 2-1 hole. I bet them. So it's going to be fascinating on Sunday. I'm pulling for a good game, for being honest. Let's get back to the calls. 888-623-3646. And we say hi to our buddy David in Maryland. Hi, David.
Hi, Patrick. Patrick,
how you doing?
Of all, I'm doing great. I've been working way too hard. Left my apartment at 6 this morning, just finishing up. Patrick, you said something about Tony. Call back. Tell us who Adam sounds like.
Yes.
I have had this conversation with Adam one-on-one. I'll tell you who he doesn't sound like. And I'm saying something wrong. But he does not sound like an African-American gentleman. I was blown away when he said that. I was like, really?
When Dustin said that?
No. Adam said that.
Oh, okay.
I did say that. Yes.
Okay, I got you. Just to pretend. Okay.
Yeah.
Want to stay out of that one? I got you though.
He's still a crybaby New York fan. Patrick, about a week and a half ago, you started. This is a Pacers show. This is Pacers. Was that a shtick, or are we a Pacers show? Because I'm Pacers all the way.
Do you think they shock the world on Sunday?
Absolutely. The only thing I'm worried about is there's no way Oklahoma shoots as bad as they did last night. I mean, the defense the Pacers played on Shea was amazing. I can't stand the elbow to the chest that Shea does all the time, and it's not called a foul. It makes no sense to me. But yes, I am looking for the Pacers. And a lot of people on the radio, even on Mad Dog, have said that if the Pacers win, it's the biggest upset in NBA Finals history.
Well, no, if you look at that, thanks, David. Have a nice weekend. I'm going to leave the Adam comments alone. Your boy's not going there. I don't know what any of that means. Yikes. By the numbers, I mean, they were $7.50. Put it this way. As far as the odds, we haven't seen a number like this. They were minus 750. Thanks, Adam. They were minus 750. Lay $750. This is before the NBA Finals started. Let me just give you context. Lay $750 to win $100 on the Thunder. You can't bet that price. You can't bet that. So by the number, yeah, this will be the biggest upset in NBA Finals history. And by the way, this is the first Game 7 Oh, bunch of donks. This is the first Game 7 since when? NBA Finals, first Game 7. Think about it. The LeBron block. Remember? Golden State, suspension of Draymond, shocker. Golden State, Cleveland, down in a big hole. Cleveland comes back. LeBron with the chase block, a la Tayshaun Prince against the Pacers. The real ones know. And so that was our last Game 7 in an NBA Finals was 2016. And here we go. We are at the break in Ecuador. Let's see where they play. I don't even think they'll have it. Yeah, the app doesn't even know where in Ecuador Libertad plays. But I do know they play in our bank account. Hey, family. Libertad, 3. Técnico Universitario, Zippy. He said over the 2.25. And we said also like Libertad. I sound like an idiot. But hey, if you're gonna win people cash, flex a little bit. By the way, did you guys see last night? So NL West, the Dodgers have underperformed, but if we're being fair to the Dodgers, the injuries have crushed them. 46-30, they're still in first in the NL West. They've had and Twizzy knows this, and Dodger fans know this. They've just had a freaking run, dynastic. They've won 2 championships, but they've won the pennant a billion years in a row. Just been Andrew Friedman is the best executive. You could put Friedman up with any executive in sports. He is the president of the Dodgers. When we used to do the rap on this network, Friedman joined us a couple of times, which was a thrill for us. We used to have a good in with the Dodgers because we went down, me and the big guy went down to Cactus League years ago for Mad Dog Sports Radio. And we covered, who'd we cover? Bud Black was still, RIP to his managerial career. He was still with the Rockies. They stunk. And then we went to the Angels. And Mike Scioscia was managing. Ron Washington, a health scare today. Scioscia, first off, the Diamondbacks and the Rockies share, it's like Wicked Stick or something in Arizona. They share a minor league facility, and it is spectacular. State of the art. It's a gorgeous park. So we covered both the Rockies and Diamondbacks. And then we went to where the Angels practice, and obviously Cactus League. It's a dump. Like the Angels are such second-class citizens in LA. It's freaking Mike and the OC knows it. Their spring training's in a dump. And then we went over to the Dodgers, and that was probably the best experience. It's a nice park. It's an older park, but it's a nice park. And the Dodgers were just the organization was so accommodating and really, really cool. Dave Roberts is as nice as you can come by. Friedman, front office, they were all great to us. And right now, the Dodgers are up 3 games on the Giants and 5 over the Padres. Now, the Padres, people outside of the West Coast may not recognize this, but the Dodgers and Padres have a legitimate rivalry. They can't stand each other. A lot of it's an inferiority thing with the Dodgers, and it's a beautiful city, but it's a small city in San Diego, and Padres are 5 back. So the Dodgers took 3 of 4, but lost last night to the Padres. But they did take 3 of 4 in the series. So this rivalry, Shohei got hit with a heater, 100-mile-an-hour heater, in his right shoulder in the bottom of the ninth. Now, prior to that, during the series between the Dodgers and the Padres, 8 batters hit by pitch. So, obviously, people are getting pegged all over the place. Earlier last night, Tatis Jr. took a 93-mile-an-hour heater off his right hand. So, it was payback. In the bottom of the ninth, Shohei gets drilled, but he waves off his teammates coming out because Shohei's a G. He waves off his teammates. Schilt came out when Tatis Jr. got drilled, and he's chirping at the Dodgers dugout. Here comes Dave Roberts, who's the nicest guy you're going to see. He's pushing Schilt, John at each other, dugouts empty. It was pretty wild. Remember, great series in the postseason last year between the two. The Friars. It's a nice little team. Hey, listen, the Dodgers, you know what they did? They just said, oh, see, you have a beautiful park. Petco, that's a beautiful park. Come here. Come over here. Dodger Stadium. Let me pat you on the head. Oh, that's a nice little city. You have nice sunshine. But we're Los Angeles, so we'll take 3 of 4. It's VSiN Live coming up next. The U.S. men's national team is in disarray. Our buddy Brian Dunseth is going to join us to discuss.
Covering the spread all night long. This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Sweat your bets with VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Here's Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson.
Okay, we welcome you back. VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio. Those of you, and I used to do this on Mad Dog Sports Radio all the time, I used to crush you with soccer talk because I'm obsessed with the sport. And anytime we get a chance to talk it, I always want to talk to Brian Dunseth, who used to join us back in the day, looking to reconnect. He's on the FIFA Club World Cup calls on TNT. I believe he had Flamengo and Chelsea today, which was crazy. I know Chelsea was on a red card. Flamengo beat them. South American teams playing well. LAFC lost to a team from Tunisia today. We got to talk about that. U.S. men's national team as well with our guy Dunny. TNT, Sirius XM FC. Of course, you can check him out, co-host Counterattack on Sirius XM FC. Well, first off, it's great to see you, Brian, and thanks for the time.
Yeah, it's been a while. Good to see you as well, my man.
Yeah, it was. You got a good one today. This we were just talking right before we came on. I know the FIFA Club World Cup has been around, but they have adjusted the format a bit, and these matchups have been awesome.
Yeah, so they've extended how many teams are actually in the FIFA Club World Cup. And I covered this with Fox Soccer Channel back in the day. And usually it's like a December, maybe a February type of tournament where MLS is at the end of the season. You've got all the European teams in their prime. Maybe some of the South American teams are battered and bruised. And it was usually a one-off where the lesser known teams like an Auckland City or an Esperance or even an Al Ahly would play these games and they kind of knock each other out. And then maybe like a Pachuca would come in or River Plate would come in. And then inevitably it'd be like a Man City or a Real Madrid. And they come in and ghost in for 2 games and win the championship, lift the trophy, cash the checks, and all would be good. But FIFA decided, it was Gianni Infantino, that they were going to take this momentum of everything that was Nations League and Euros, and they would smash it all together with regards to the domestic campaigns. And coming off the backside of what was PSG 5-0 win against Inter Milan, the Champions League and Conference League and Europa League, and my Manchester United being shockingly terrible once again, the momentum into the FIFA Club World Cup was something of an unknown. And it was super easy for everyone to take pop shots out of because it was the first time we've seen a group stage format that was basically mimicking a World Cup. So these are all the best clubs in the world from a domestic respective countries, top 4 to 6 teams in their respective regions that have won trophies or over the course of 4 years were the best respective teams over those 4 years in their nations. And what we've seen is just incredible atmospheres. A couple of night, and as Bayern Munich and Boca Juniors are about to kick off, a couple of days ago we saw La Bombonera in Miami. Today we saw Maracanã being recreated with Flamengo's result against Chelsea in at the link. And all of these moments, the Rose Bowl, 75,000 to watch PSG Atletico Madrid. I think it shocked a lot of people. And this is the first time we always said, like, I wonder if like a Brazilian team, if they were competitive in like the Premier League, what that would look like. Well, now we get proof in concept with some of these incredible games that we've seen so far.
No, it's incredible. By the way, as an aside, Brian, I think you'd be impressed. Every day I give out a South American soccer winner, and I went Ecuador, Libertad Técnico Universitario. I went over 2.25 goals. It's 3-0 at halftime. Impressed? Ecuadorian soccer here on Mad Dog Sports Radio.
You're an animal if you can figure that one out. Every once in a while, people will be like, "What do you think?" And I go, "It's soccer. I don't know. Like, it could be a referee's decision. It could be VAR intervention. It could be multiple replays, or like we saw today in your reference point about Flamengo and Chelsea. And this has been my problem as a former player. I try to kick the ball as far as possible. Somehow it hits the attacking player, ends up 10 yards behind me. I'm going in the wrong direction, and Pedro Neto is going in the right direction and scores the goal. So the curse of the damned in terms of former center backs.
Well, Brian's modest. He was a great player. Maybe we can explain to the audience, and I want to get to the U.S. men's national team. You mentioned Champions League, which I do have a comment on as well. Maybe you can tell them what the CONCACAF Gold Cup is, because, of course, the United States, North America, but just a quick primer on what the Gold Cup actually is.
Yeah, it's our regional tournament. Happens every couple of years. You have to qualify for it. And usually the heavyweights are Canada, Mexico, United States, not necessarily in that order. It's taken a step back because of the creation of the Nations League. And during COVID, essentially all the talk about Super League and what was happening, basically everybody took a step back. And we had this moment where everyone threw whatever they could against the wall to see what stuck. And that was the creation of the Nations League. And we see it in the Euros and we see it here in the United States. And the U.S. was 3-time winners going into thinking that there was an opportunity to lift another. They failed miserably. That created the whole narrative and conversation surrounding Christian Pulisic that has been well thought out and contrived at the same time. But the Gold Cup is usually an opportunity for those that are maybe fringe high-level performers over in Europe and specific to MLS performers like Diego Luna, who's one of my favorite players to play the game right now. These opportunities. So it's kind of a mismatch of players that aren't involved in what FIFA Club World Cup is, specific to Gio Reyna with Borussia Dortmund and Tim Weah and Weston McKennie with Juve. That takes priority over national team commitment right now. But Mauricio Pochettino and company are trying to identify, frankly, what feels like guys that want to play for the U.S. men's national team that identify with Mauricio Pochettino's coaching staff in terms of the simplicity of heart, grit, determination, and desire, and then figuring out which of these guys are identifiable to be a part of September, October, November international windows, where we'll get to see, quote unquote, the first team for the U.S. men's national team.
Yeah, we're less than a year out from the World Cup in North America, which I can't wait for. SiriusXM FC, Brian Dunseth joining us. But I love Luna too. I'm one of the MLS sickos, Brian. Like I have Apple TV just so I can watch every game. I find the product, when I started watching MLS probably 15 years ago ish, it's miraculous how far the league has come as far as I'm concerned. Do you view it the same way, that we've really had kind of a glow up over the last 5 years or so in MLS?
Quick history lesson on myself. Talk about an MLS sicko. I was at the Rose Bowl in 1996 when I was at Cal State Fullerton and watching LA Galaxy against New York, New Jersey Metro Stars. And watching Tony Meola walk in with an ill-fated suit into the Rose Bowl, and seeing guys like Danny Barber and all of the former Cal State Fullerton players play, and thinking to myself, my God, one day I have an opportunity to play in this league. And fast forward, July 4th, 1997, New England Revolution against the LA Galaxy. I had the opportunity to make my MLS debut, and Nick Lachey and 97 Degrees were playing the halftime hits. So it shows you what an MLS sicko I am, my man. So I feel like there's a genetic DNA relationship that you and I have in this conversation. Yeah, listen, watching this league, I'm incredibly envious and jealous to see the infrastructure, to see the growth, and to understand that guys like myself now have kids that are participating and playing in Major League Soccer and making it through the U.S. men's national team. And to your point, I did the the $10 million play-in game for LAFC playing against Club America. Mm-hmm. LAFC was 8 years old in terms of experience. Club America had 126 years in their back pocket. The spending power of Club America was 4 times what LAFC has been spending. And outside of Inter Miami these last couple of years, LAFC has been one of the shining examples of success and spend and proof and concept. When they played Chelsea the other day, I had the opportunity and the pleasure of being a part of that broadcast, and I was just thinking about, it was probably 10-1 the spend when you think about what Todd Boehly, Clear Lake, Chelsea have done, and the $2 billion spent on infrastructure these last couple of years. That doesn't excuse the loss against Esperance, by the way. But yeah, to your point, watching Inter Miami, watching Seattle Sounders, watching LAFC, there's a weird nuance of a conversation of growth, but also continuing to take the training wheels off and allow what I think is the slowing down of expansion, but the speeding up of multi-billion-dollar ownership. I'm in Salt Lake City. I watched David Blitzer come in, buy out Deloy Hansen, bring in Ryan Smith, who then ended up getting the NHL team and divested of his ownership to go back to the Millers, which came in and took over prime ownership. And so in the better course of 3 years, my pass or fail math at Cal State Fullerton isn't great. But that's 3 groups that were multi-billion-dollar owners that have invested just in Real Salt Lake alone. So I think as we continue to see the evolution of 30 years turn into 40 years, turn into 50 years, it's not, I think, lost on anybody the importance of the World Cup next year to capture the imagination, similar to what we see in the Olympics every couple of years, that this is an unbelievable opportunity for Mauricio Pochettino and the U.S. men's national team to garner as much support as possible, because with that support becomes credit cards, which becomes investments, which becomes not just long-term stability, but strategic growth in Major League Soccer as well.
Brian Dunseth, killing it. Yeah, I like to compare. Liga MX, you mentioned Club America. That's what I use as our barometer, MLS, and we've been doing better over the past couple of years against a great soccer nation, and that's Mexico. Yeah, I'm a sicko. I watch a ton of Liga MX. All right, so Brian, let's do this. You and I are the same age, so for us, 94 was special That was the World Cup in America. It's kind of the birth of modern soccer in America, because what a run, and some big names, as you know, colleagues of yours now, that were in that World Cup. But it's been building and building. I was doing Mad Dog Sports Radio in 2014 when the United States had a nice run in the World Cup, and I expected by the time we got here for things to really settle in. And there's drama. Pochettino comes in. Pochettino, for those that don't know, this is going to be long-winded, but he was a European manager, very respected across the globe when it comes to soccer acumen. He takes over for Berhalter, kind of expected things to settle in with a Pochettino, and it's gotten messy. I'm just going to let you run with that and do what you want with U.S. men's national team and the big picture.
Yeah, I've been fortunate enough to be a part of this for a long, long time, and doing the show Counterattack on Sirius XM channel 157 with Tony Miola for these last 10 years, having Eric Winalda. I played with Alexi Lawless and Joe Max Moore and John Harkes and all these guys. They're all like my big brothers. And seeing what was the devastation of missing out on the 2018 World Cup and losing in Trinidad and Tobago when 5 other scenarios had to go wrong, and they all did. There became a glass ceiling that was shattered, and that was losing Tim Howard and losing Jermaine Jones and Michael Bradley and Josie Altidore and Clint Dempsey and even Landon Donovan, Aguchi Onyewu, Carlos Bocanegra, all of these iconic forces that really set the tone. And we lost the ability to transmit a lot of the experience and the expectation and the non-negotiables that looked that were very clearly defined. And people forget. I mean, even down to Steve Cherundolo or DeMarcus Beasley or even a Frankie Hayduck, like all of these guys, they bled for the crest and they understood what it was like. So as I say that, I'm looking at the past, but the present, we've seen some incredibly talented players that were benefited from the path that was carved out before them. And these kids, because now the American culture was looked at differently, because these guys had proven it overseas, whether it was Germany or it was Holland or it was England or it was Italy, all of these different places, there were better opportunities. And those that had European passports had probably very quicker paths to success domestically, to the point where we see guys playing in Champions League finals, we see guys captaining Champions League clubs, and we see guys lifting their respective domestic trophies. And in this weird conversation, there's success and failure. I was one of those that wasn't too excited about what was going to happen in Qatar in 2022 based on those final 2 friendlies against Saudi Arabia and Japan in the empty stadiums. And then things go sideways and you lose guys like Chris Richards, who just won an FA Cup against Man City with Crystal Palace, and you lose guys like Miles Robinson, and we think the wheels are falling off and the clouds are falling from the sky. And then Christian Pulisic, Tyler Adams, Weston McKennie, and that group of players were phenomenal, to the point where I think people forget that Louis van Gaal in Netherlands were playing counterattacking football against the United States, something that was completely unheard of. And scoring 2 goals at the back post in the first half, which changed the dynamic of the game. But the U.S. was fantastic. And then everything goes sideways. Ernie Stewart leaves. Brian McBride leaves. You have this incredibly malicious situation between Gio Reyna, his family, and Greg Berhalter's family that ended up having Matt Crocker come in and the delay of renewing the contract of Greg Berhalter. And in a moment that we thought, and I'm fortunate enough to be a part of TNT's coverage, not just for the FIFA Club World Cup, but the U.S. men's national team, I was a part of that game in D.C. when they lost 5-0 to Colombia. And then they had a response 1-1 against Brazil down in Orlando. And then they got into the Copa America and they beat Bolivia. And then all of a sudden, everything goes sideways. And a moment of madness changes the entire direction of the U.S. men's national team. And they're knocked out of Copa America, which was supposed to be the dry run for the World Cup, because we're not going through World Cup qualifying, because we're gifted that. We're just because we're hosting. Greg loses his job, Mauricio comes in, and to your point, because of his success at Tottenham and PSG, and even the success he had at Chelsea before he was unceremoniously let go, we thought Mauricio Pochettino and his coaching staff were going to very quickly bet in and get everybody on board. And then they failed at Nations League. And then listen, I think there's so much nuance and there's been so many stories and so many opinions, and I can take them all when it comes to Christian Pulisic. But the reality is, I did the math. Christian Pulisic has played almost as many minutes and as many games in the 2 years he's been at AC Milan than he played in the 4 years that he was at Chelsea. And in any other world, that doesn't include what happened last summer at Copa America and doesn't happen the failure of Nations League. Christian is widely expected to take this Gold Cup off. But then again, there's nuance to this because now Pochettino wants to see who's with him, and because of big balls Diego Luna breaking his nose and getting an assist and showing this grit that is the DNA of the American public. And then maybe Pochettino trying to figure out who's on the bus, who's off the bus. And then obviously parents getting involved. It's just a weird situation because, we look to the shining lights of Landon and Clint and Stu and Mo and Alexi and all these guys, Bees, Kyle Martino, myself, all on the broadcast. And we're trying to figure out the right way to not just light everything on fire, but actually have a real conversation. So in a wild way, I feel like everybody is valid with their perspective, but I'm not sure there's still a solution, if that makes sense.
First off, that was beautifully done. It was a tremendous kind of formulation of everything that's happening because you brought up so many huge names. You forget how many great soccer players America has produced. I'll throw you in the mix, Brian, but you mentioned Landon Donovan and obviously Clint Dempsey. They had success in England, which is not easy to do.
Yeah.
But the young generation, Pulisic and others, essentially the whole U.S. men's national team, they're playing overseas. My question for you is, does it, like Beasley, does it matter to the kids playing this generation for the U.S. men's national team as much as it did for some of the names you've mentioned?
I think it does matter. I just think it's different. Bees, it's so great, man. I love Bees because I've been with him since he's 17 years of age, and I've watched him go on to have this tremendous amount of success in 4 World Cups and being a leader. And if you look at his resume, whether it's in the United States or it's in Holland or it's in Germany or it's in England or it's down in Mexico, he's checked literally every box when you want to define what the ideal U.S. men's national team player. By the way, Clint Dempsey does the same. I mean, Michael Bradley does this. There's so many incredible moments where we're but I also think it's weird because unlike you and I, we have such a new generation of soccer fans that are waking up every morning and watching the Premier League and maybe paying attention to the Bundesliga. And in the afternoon, they're watching Serie A and they're watching La Liga. And maybe a little bit later, it's in between Major League Soccer or Liga MX down in Mexico. They're being introduced to this soccer and expectation. So all of a sudden, they think because players are playing over there, that's the end all be all. And it's really weird for us that have been around the game to kind of slow everything down and be like, do you realize that going back even to the 1990 group, the shot heard round the world, Paul Caligiuri against Trinidad and Tobago to get us in the World Cup in 1990, there was a grind and a fight just to find the opportunity to play professional soccer here in the United States or to get a job over in Europe. I mean, I had my own experience where my rights were effectively frozen and I had to go to Sweden for a year because I couldn't be traded and I couldn't sign a new contract somewhere else. So the old days of we jokingly refer to ourselves as the Dick Buckuses of Major League Soccer. To see these guys have so much success and be envious and jealous of this, we kind of forget at times that this path that was laid by the last generation really does set the tone of the non-negotiables that a lot of us as former players are looking for. But again, we didn't exist in a world where there was even cameras on our phone. I mean, we didn't even exist in a world where there was Twitter or Facebook. I mean, it was big soccer. We were worried about getting called out for drinking the night before a game on big soccer, as opposed to all of these other ways to publicly shame people nowadays. So the world looks different. The connectivity looks different. Even, going on the road and sitting in the locker room when you didn't need treatment, you were there for the banter. You were there for the connectivity of relationships. And all of those things are different. And I think it's always important to point out, I don't think it's ever for a lack of desire. I think it's just understanding that the modern athlete is exposed to a different generation of dopamine hits that, whether they're positive or negative, there's it's really blurred lines when it comes to how we're judging this new age kid that's extraordinarily talented, but we're still trying to figure out how to connect to him personally.
It's such a great point that they're so splintered, and social media is the dregs. I mean, it's just awful. It sucks. Honestly, the story is yet to be written, but it's going to go down as not great. But, Pulisic's dad got involved in social to protect his son. Nobody would ever, say that he shouldn't be doing it. And there's just like a lot going on. So let me ask you this way, because the talent, we mentioned Christian, obviously Reyna and McKinney, and my favorite player by far is Luna. And Luna's an American that plays in MLS. It almost feels like that's the direction that the fans are going to gravitate towards, because they feel like there is, you mentioned the broken nose. Is Pochettino the right man for the job? I'm going to ask you a hard question, but do you think he is the right man for this job?
I think right now the ability to have 30-plus days with this group is incredibly important. And while it's not with the first team, this would have been much more beneficial had this been Copa America a couple of summers ago. Listen, I think, again, I'm not trying to straddle the fence on this one. Okay. I think the important thing to remember is that Mauricio Pochettino, this is the first time he's ever been an international manager. And unlike having his players for the better part of 10 and a half months, where he can really dig into them, set the tone, and if he doesn't like them, he can F him off to another team. And he's done so. Andros Townsend is probably the best example when he was at Tottenham, for a player that didn't fit and he didn't like what was happening. He's adapting to understanding that he's never going to have his full roster, or it's going to be very, very rare. By the time these players fly from overseas, they're going to be recovering from the flight, recovering from the game, and trying to get on the time zone that they're playing in. So effectively, they're going to have 1 or 2 training sessions before a friendly. They're not World Cup qualifiers. And I think at this point, he's truly understanding what he has, and maybe more importantly, what he doesn't have. So within this cult of personality and setting expectations of what the non-negotiables are, he's made a statement to players. The players have made a statement to him. But this is unlike domestic football. He can't sell a player. He can't bend a player. He can't try to move a player on. And what's nuanced in this conversation is the players also have to understand, man, you got a World Cup 12 months away. And Alexi Lawless is the perfect example of a power of a World Cup, because he ended up playing in that World Cup in '94. He went to Padova. He scored goals in Serie A against AC Milan and Inter Milan. He learned how to speak Spanish, and he came back a few years later and he helped launch Major League Soccer. You, as a player, understand that if you make this roster, you're not just a hero. You have the opportunity to etch your name along the likes of Michael Jordan and whoever you want to, Tom Brady or Kobe Bryant, or however you want to, pick your Mount Rushmore of athletes forever. This is a forever tournament. So these guys got to figure out a way, even if they don't like a manager, to get on board, because it's a once in a lifetime generation. And whether it's Tyler Adams or it's Weston McKennie or it's Tim Weah or it's Jedi Robinson or even a Matt Turner or a Diego Luna, don't think for a second that these guys don't understand that this opportunity to be lost is going to be something that will be regretful for the rest of their lives.
Perfectly put. I'm pulling for him. I can't wait. There's an interesting juxtaposition. I promise I'll let you go, Brian, but what's happening in Canada, resurgence of soccer there, and Jesse Marsh.
Yeah.
And first off, I think Berhalter is a great coach. I just want to put that out. What he's done with Chicago is nothing in MLS. All of a sudden, he's got him scoring 1 million goals. Let's leave Berhalter alone. There's a lot of drama there. But Marsh, it's almost like he's saying what Americans want our national team's coach to say up in Canada now. So it's a weird vibe with Jesse Marsch right now.
Yeah, I've known Jesse for a long, long time. And he is motivational, antagonistic, and he knows how to really turn the screws when the opportunity's there. And obviously extremely motivated because he feels as though he was strung along by U.S. soccer and deserved the opportunity to lead this country. He knows what he's doing. He's very, very smart with the buttons that he's pushing. But I would say because he's more of a builder, that the Canadian Federation is perfect for him because you got a bunch of guys with chips on their shoulder that feel as though they're disrespected. He can get into the culture and the nuance of Canadian football at its lowest levels. He's brilliant in the way that he's constantly introducing people to the squad and bringing coaches in and bringing people, legislators, anybody involved. Even though Victor Montagliani, who's Canadian, who's the president of CONCACAF, is not too happy with him right now. Jesse's doing a lot of great things. I don't know if it would have worked with this group of players at the U.S. men's national team, but I 100% agree with you that his passion on the sideline, while really annoying at times if he's not your guy, is doing a great job with this group of players right now up in Canada.
Yeah, he was at Leeds, and for those that would like some context on Jesse Marsch, he's kind of been compared to like a Ted Lasso, but an antagonistic Ted Lasso. He's different. Yeah. Before I say goodbye, the PSG performance in the Champions League, I thought I had seen everything with Barcelona back in the day. That was exquisite performance against a great inter team.
Yeah, and by the way, they lost last night down at the Rose Bowl. They lost to Brazilian side Botafogo 1-0. Yeah. And for his incredible, and by the way, I did the game on, what was it, Sunday, when they beat Atletico Madrid 4-0. So for Botafogo to win, Flamengo to win this afternoon against Chelsea 3-1, Fluminense drawing 0-0 against Borussia Dortmund, and they should have won. All of a sudden, I was with Max during the LAFC Club America game, and I said at halftime, I was like, just keep an eye on Brazilian football. Like, this is the chance to keep an eye on Brazilian football. And sure enough, they are absolutely flying. So PSG, hands down, one of the most exciting teams and led by such a lovable character in Luis Enrique, who's grounding himself with his bare feet in the grass and telling the incredible and yet tear-jerking story of losing his daughter years ago. This FIFA Club World Cup has got some great stories to continue to write, and I'm really excited. And by the way, side note, Andres Cantor, I got to work with him yesterday. I got to be a part of Inter Miami's game. Lionel Messi scoring an unbelievable free kick. For Cantor to do his first English broadcast for my bronze medal match against Chile back in 2000 in Sydney, Australia. And then for him to say what an honor it is to call a game with you in a first full circle moment. I literally felt like I was at the zoo and looking around being like, does anybody see what's happening right now? Because that was like a full circle moment. So I am in the full pinch me stage and recognizing that we're not even finished with the second group of games in the group stage. The semifinal and the final at MetLife in New York in about 3 weeks' time, 2.5 weeks' time, is going to be extraordinary.
I just got chills. That's about as cool as it gets. And we'll be watching TNT Club World Cup. Commentator, of course, I listen to you and Tony. Counterattack, Sirius XM FC, Brian Dunseth. When's your next call with the Club World Cup?
So I have Inter Milan against Uara Red Devils tomorrow. Then I have a break. Then it's Inter Miami with Cantor again against Palmeiras on Monday. I'm basically, tomorrow's going to be my Sunday's going to be my first day off after doing 8 games straight. Then I'm right back into it. I'm the most lucky human being in the world. I never thought I'd get this opportunity. So yeah, it's going to be a fun one.
Well, you've been grinding, and you didn't expect a dummy on Mad Dog Sports Radio to keep you for 32 minutes because I'm geeking out.
Man.
I could do 10 more hours. Brian, thanks so much for the time. I appreciate it.
Anytime you need me. The moment that I got the text that I could jump on with you on a what is Saturday, Friday? I don't even know what date it is. Friday.
You're working too much.
Dude, I literally have no idea what date it is. I appreciate you. Anytime you need me, let me know. Love coming on the show, my man.
All right, brother. Thank you. Brian Dunseth. That was a thrill for me. Every time Dustin texted Brian, I said, we're going to do a soccer hit. Could you text Brian? And the big guy texted him. And for me, those are the conversations. I mean, God, I could have asked him a million more things. But those are the conversations I get excited about because, I watched him play. He's 48. I'm 47. I kind of, not that I'm connected to him in any way, but yeah, that was cool. Good guy, too. You could just tell. What a freaking good guy. There's a lot going on in soccer, including a winner for us. Let me just check in on our bet. Libertad 3, Tecnico Universitario 1. So we went over 2 1/4. There's 4 goals in the 72nd minute. We can't stop, won't stop. And let me just take a look-see. We said over Tigers Rays. Is this good? We said over 8. It's Tampa Bay 8, Tigers 3 in the 5th inning. Let's keep the heater rolling. It's VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
This is VSiN
Right.
Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson. This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson.
Hey, VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio. By the way, Ron Washington, I don't know what the health matter is, but Angels manager Ron Washington out indefinitely because of health issues. So his bench coach is going to take over tonight against the Astros. Washington, who's 73. He looks good. I didn't realize he was that. Shortness of breath, appeared fatigued towards the end of a 4-game series against the Yankees, and so he's going to be out for a bit. We told you about the fights, and it's a great rivalry, but we talked to you about the fights with Schilt. You remember Schilt, our buddy Alan White Plains Cards, Redbirds. He was there. Schilt, now he's the manager of the Friars down there in San Diego, the Padres. So Schilt and Dave Roberts got into it. The Dodgers did take 3 of 4 from the Padres, but Padres closer Suarez suspended for 3 games and then fined a ton because, remember, he hit Shohei in the right shoulder with a 100-mile-an-hour heater, so he got suspended. And then Roberts got a 1-game suspension and a fine, and Schilt also got a suspension and a fine. My guess is they'll take those to get that rivalry going. Maybe pick up their team. You got NL West right now. The Dodgers up 3 on the Giants and up 5 on the Padres. I actually did want to talk to you about Devers, and we can close out with your calls, 888-MAD-DOG-6, 888-623-3646, because I did some digging into the Rafael Devers drama with the Red Sox. It's not great. That was a big contract that the Giants took on, but there seems to be some dysfunction right now, obviously, with the Red Sox, although the Red Sox are playing good ball. You take a look right now, and the Red Sox are in contention. I'm just looking. I think they were, sitting in the 3rd wild card spot, games back of maybe 5 back of the Yankees. The Yankees had been struggling. Sorry, Adam, but they had. We'll see if they can pick it up. I did want to ask you, have you guys heard of Drew Hirschman? That's probably a name that doesn't necessarily register. So let me tell you the story of Drew Hirschman, because this is a fascinating, and I'll ask you, what would you do if you are in Drew Hirschman's shoes? All right? And it's a gambling story, but it's an interesting one. So Drew Hirschman's a 24-year-old kid. He's living in his parents' basement. He just graduated college, I think somewhere in New York, and he's living with his folks. And Drew Hirschman decided to put together a 5-leg parlay. Now, what's that? You pick 5 events, you pick 5 futures, you pick 5 games, you put an amount down. You have to win all 5 in a parlay, essentially, to win your bet. Now, you can hedge along the way, you can cash out along the way, but a 5-leg parlay, it's not very common to hit a 5-teamer, but Drew Hirschman was on the road to doing so. So here's what he did. And I told you yesterday or 2 days ago what a futures was, right? So a futures bet is, hey, next year I think the Detroit Lions are going to win a Super Bowl. It's June 20th. I'm going to go to the Sportsbook app, and I'm going to place a bet right now on the Lions to win a Super Bowl. That's called a futures bet. So Drew Hirschman is sitting around his parents' house, and he's got $13. So what does he do? He jumps on his app, and he says, you know what? I'm going to have some fun with my $13. I'm going to put together a parlay. So he says, I think the Liberty are going to win the WNBA title. I think the Philadelphia Eagles are going to win the Super Bowl. I think the Dodgers are going to win the World Series. I think the Edmonton Oilers are going to win the Stanley Cup. And I think the Oklahoma City Thunder are going to win the NBA championship. So, again, Thunder, Oilers, Dodgers, Liberty, and Eagles. 5-leg parlay, $13 bet. All have to happen. Less than a 0.005% chance of that happening. I mean, you think about it. This is all before any of the season started. So he got the WNBA champ. Check. Liberty won. He got the Eagles Super Bowl. Check. Philadelphia won. He got the Dodgers World Series. Check. The Dodgers won. And by the way, if this 5-legger, $13 bet pays off and wins, he won or would win $270,000. So return on investment, much? $13 with the potential to make $270K. So he found himself in a really precarious spot because he was sitting there with the Eagles having won the Super Bowl, the Liberty having won the WNBA championship, the Dodgers having won the World Series, and he's feeling pretty good about the Thunder, and he's feeling pretty good about the Oilers, but he was offered a $135,000 cash out. So what does that mean? That means the book that he bet with says, we want to mitigate some of this liability here. You've hit 3 legs of your 5-leg parlay. We'll give you an opportunity to take right now on your $13 investment $135,000. Drew Hirschman, 24 years old, living in his parents' basement somewhere in New York, said, nah, let it ride. This was before, I believe, the Stanley Cup final and before the NBA final. Maybe I've got the timeline mixed up a little bit, but he was feeling pretty good about himself. Now, he did hedge, and hedging would mean you take some money and you go the other way. So maybe you bet on the Florida Panthers. Maybe you put some money down on the Indiana Pacers. So you're guaranteed some sort of profit. He did make somewhere in between $75,000 and $90,000 off of hedges. But he has a Game 7 to go with the Thunder. And so he was the Edmonton Oilers and 1 win from the Thunder away from a $13 bet turning into $270,000. Now he's getting dragged and he's getting roasted all over social media because, all the betting experts want to come in and say, oh, you did this incorrectly. You should have taken the cash out. Why didn't you hedge more? First off, he's like, we drained our bank accounts. My dad drained his bank account just so we could hedge the other way with the Florida Panthers or, the Pacers or whomever it was. It was the Panthers. So we somehow came out with a profit of, $75,000, $90,000, which is great money, but it's not life-changing money. So if you're sitting at home tonight and you're bored and you want to think about throwing together a 5-leg futures parlay, think of Drew Hirschman. Think about how my man was feeling when the Liberty won and the Eagles won and the Dodgers won and the Thunder are putting together an all-time season. And so really it came down to the Thunder and the Oilers, and it's a no-go. With $270,000, he could have moved out of his parents' house. I wonder what he's going to do with $75,000 or $90K. The story of Drew Hirschman. When we return, the story of the dysfunctional Red Sox. It's VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson. Sweat your bets with VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Here's Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson.
All right, we just talked to Brian Dunseth about soccer. The top soccer clubs from around the world are battling it out in the Club World Cup, and no one is covering the action like SiriusXM FC, from newly crowned European champion PSG to Lionel Messi, Inter Miami, plus iconic South American clubs like Boca Juniors and Flamengo. Club soccer's elite are taking the United States by storm. Stay tuned to SiriusXM FC all tournament long for expert analysis and insight on the Club World Cup. That's channel 157 in the car or streaming on the great SiriusXM app. VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio. And speaking of Brian Dunseth, I think he just made a mistake because we just had Brian Dunseth on, great American soccer player, host over at SiriusXM FC. Obviously hosting on TNT for the World Cup stuff. Does a great job. But after the interview, and I kept him for like 30 minutes. I could be a little long with my interviews, let's be honest. But because I wanted to get to the bottom of the U.S. men's national team drama. And Brian can only say so much. You have to understand he's put in a tough spot because that is such a provincial. That is such a gossip-laden, drama-filled situation with the U.S. men's national team. You've got Pulisic's dad battling on a burner on Twitter with others. You've got Landon Donovan, one of the great American soccer players of all time, maybe the greatest, good in the conversation. He's going, misgivings back and forth with Pulisic. You've got Tim Howard, he and Miola, the greatest goaltenders of all time in soccer American history. He is going back and forth. Alexi Lalas, when he's not talking politics, he's killing the U.S. men's national team. You've got Jesse Marsh, who thought after Berhalter that he was getting the U.S. men's national team job as their manager. He's now up in Canada. He's taking shots. So it's a lot of drama, and that's a long way of saying Dunseth got a hold of our producer, Isaiah Ramirez, and said, pass my number along to Patrick. Now, I'm obsessed with soccer, so I would say to Brian, I'm a good guy, so I'm not going to bug you, but if you pass me your number, you're going to get text messages about Mexican soccer because we're about to cash in Ecuador as a family, Shaka. We told you over 2.25. We're in the 90th minute, and Libertad's up 4-1. Easy winner. The soccer stuff is fascinating, though. It is going to be really fascinating to see how this team comes together trying to qualify for the World Cup. Remember, the World Cup coming up in less than a year is going to be played in North America. So right here on our turf, Canada and elsewhere. So that to come. Just quickly take a look at the scoreboard before we get the hell out of here. Adams Yankees just gave up the lead in the top of the 8th at home against the Orioles. What a freaking disaster. I'd love to see that team continue to struggle, the Yankees. And as I say that, I'm going to take a look at the odds because it really right now, if you're looking at the odds in the American League, it comes down to the Yankees and Tigers for the pennant, right? Because I'm taking a look right now. Let's take a look at the futures. League winners. Yankees are plus 240. So $100. You think the Yankees are going to win the AL? Adam, whomever, with this lineup, good luck. But the Yankees, $100 brings you back 240 to represent the AL in the World Series. I'm shocked, especially with the Job injury, the fourth starter there for the Tigers. I'm shocked to see how short the Tigers are. They're 3-1 in the market right now to represent the AL. That's quite a turnaround. A team, probably the least talented team in the history of Major League Baseball to make the postseason last year. A.J. Hinch has done, it's a maestro performance from A.J. Hinch to turn this organization around. Obviously, they've got Skubal, that looming decision, whether or not they're going to give him the $300 million or whatever he's going to ask for. You've got the Houston Astros as your third betting favorite in the AL. I mean, there's a drop-off if you think about it because you got the Astros, they're fine at 5-1. And then the Tampa Bay Rays, playing in a minor league park down in Florida, they're your fourth betting favorite to come out of the AL at 12-1. You know, the Blue Jays, right now the Rays are beating up on my Tigers, 9-4. We did hand out the over 8 winner at even money, just saying, to begin the program. The Blue Jays, who have been disappointing year after year after year, are 13-1. Then you got your teams like the Mariners sitting 14-1. You take a look at the AL, and the big guys, Mets, my best friend Evan Roberts there in New York City, his Mets, they trail the Dodgers right now as far as the betting board. The Dodgers are plus 125. The Dodgers are almost even money to come out of the NL. That's a pretty crazy price. Your second betting favorite is the Mets at 5-1. In division, the Phillies are 6-1, the Cubs 6.5-1, the Giants 16, the Padres 17. You get the idea. Elsewhere, the Mets right now in division getting beat up in Philadelphia. The Phillies lead 8-2, end of 7. And I told you about Ron Washington, who's stepping away from the Angels indefinitely due to a health concern. You feel bad for the 73-year-old Washington. And his Angels are hosting the Astros, and the Astros, after one, lead 2-0. Told you about the suspensions. Suarez, the Padres pitcher, he got suspended for 3 games and a hefty fine for drilling Shohei last night. Shohei was awesome in that because Shohei, he got hit with a 100-mile-an-hour heater in the shoulder, and he waved off. Now, the benches started to empty, but Shohei gave the Heisman to the Dodgers bench, like, I'm good. I got this. Prior to that, you had Dave Roberts and Schilt getting into it with a great rivalry there. As far as the weekend's concerned, you can just look ahead. Let me give you the numbers before I get out of here on the basketball game. Because Indiana, Oklahoma City. So the Pacers at the Thunder. Just give you an idea. This opened Oklahoma City a 9-point favorite. So it gives you an idea because they right now are a 7.5-point favorite. So what does that tell you? That tells you people believe in the Pacers. The Pacers are getting bet right now. All right, so enjoy the basketball, enjoy the baseball, enjoy your weekend. It's been a fun few days with you. Ryan Smith, thank you. Isaiah Ramirez, Adam Lockley, thank you. It's VSiN Live. It's Mad Dog Sports Radio.
Covering the spread all night long. This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio.